cold, man. It's cold. You should have a big excuse for being slow, and yet no one waits for you. The draft doesn't wait. College scholarships don't wait. So how do you stay sharp in the cold?
I say it's no excuse. We got plenty of places up indoors where you can put in work. It's basically work ethic. So you put in the work up there, you can come down and compete down here.
I like it, Weaver. I like it, Weaver. 1-1 right here. 1!
But I want to understand, two great Detroit area sluggers, how you guys do things, okay? Teach me. Can you guys teach me?
Sure.
1!
Not too much movement with the hands, you know, because usually sometimes it kind of gets you off time a little bit. You're doing too much. You know, the pitcher might quick step. You never know. So, yeah, I just stay quiet and then just quick to the ball.
I like to stay loose and fluid, and I feel like when I'm too still or stiff, it causes me to roll over and miss it. So I like to stay loose and fluid all through the zone, just keep going. The biggest component to hitting the ball square is the head. With my leg kick, sometimes I have a tendency to move it a lot. Making sure your head stays still is probably the key component to driving the ball and hitting it square.
But as the pitch comes, I get my foot down, and then where I can see I'm already here through the path of the ball, so I can get a good vision and then take it somewhere.
Practice and how comfortable you are. You gotta know your zone. So when the ball comes, kind of just you have a feel for it. It's not really something you should think about. You just have a feel for it, letting it get deep and driving it. And that just comes with practice and reps.
Well, because I know a lot of Southern, because it's mostly African American, they're quick. So I know a lot of coaches that tell them to swing down at the ball, hit it on the ground, because they can probably beat it out.
Right.
But where we're from, we just work on getting a little carry on the ball, so we can take it out, line drive everywhere.
This is an effort to raise African American presence in Major League Baseball. Is it going to help?
I'm pretty sure it is, because I was kind of surprised. There's actually a lot of kids here. They're committed to D1 colleges, and I even met some that's committed to state, where I'm going. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it should help. It should help big time. Get some experience with these ex-ball players. It's pretty rare. Some of the best instruction you can get anywhere.
What an honor, what a great initiative. The EDI, Osiris Johnson, Cabrera Weaver also there with Bush and Malcolm. When we come back, inside the numbers, the human metrics, we're going to introduce you to TrackMan, how scouts are using it to their advantage. The perfect game, All-American Classic. We roll on from San Diego, California. Welcome to San Diego, All-Americans. The week that was. The great partnership with Nike, the gear. Oh, you bet, Will Banfield. Certainly enjoying a voicemail from Mike Trout. You bet. Welcome, gentlemen. Certainly an exciting week for these athletes, and obviously, teaching portion of it comes into it as well. The personalized jerseys. You have to have some fun, and then the visit to Rady Children's Hospital. Certainly an impact that we'll touch on in just a minute. They were touched. Young patients were touched, families as well, a very special part of it, to the beach, Trevor Hoffman's house, all sorts of fun. Perfect game, All-American Classic. These gentlemen certainly enjoyed it. This is the part of it, Dave, that we talked about didn't exist back when you played it. It makes for a fun week. You know what else didn't exist? The advanced human metrics, TrackMan data, extension on a pitcher, launch angle for a hitter, defense, first step, but all is being monitored very, very carefully by Doppler radar. So, if you had this information back when you played, would it have been advantageous for you?
I probably would have been a Hall of Famer if I had this kind of information. But no, seriously, sabermetrics and the advanced technology is going to be a part of the game of baseball. But I think anytime you can take some of this information and apply it to your game, but I take it even more personally. If I'm 1 for 20, right, and my coach comes to me and tells me, hey, I got this information that your exit velocity has actually increased even though you're 1 for 20, that gives me confidence that I don't need to go back to the drawing board, change my swing and make all of these adjustments.
Very interesting stuff. An old school metric is just old-fashioned velo, velocity. That's spiking right now with these young arms, David.
Oh, we all know, Darren, in the big leagues, the velocity is way up, and the same thing is happening at this level. We have the national showcase in early June, mid-June, and we bring in about 145 pitchers every year, the top seniors to be in the country, these age players we see on the field today. Looking at those numbers, the increase from 90, 92, 94, it's gone up 200, 300% just in the last 5 years. We're seeing this across baseball, and you're going to see some of it tonight with these 18 pitchers we're going to see tonight.
113, 90 or more. Mike Petriello, a great statistician and an expert for MLB.com. We've been talking about it all week. We'll pick up that conversation right now.
It's a really exciting time to look at some of the nation's best high school baseball talent. We've had guys like Corey Seager, Buster Posey, Justin Upton in this game in years past. You can guarantee some of these players will be starring on Major League fields in the very near future. Now, what's especially exciting about this is because it is a Major League park, we have TrackMan and StatCast hardware installed. We'll be able to put some numbers to the amazing things that these guys have been doing on the field. For example, we can measure exit velocity, and if you look at John Malcolm, a first baseman out of Michigan, he was tracked earlier this year as having a 100-mile-per-hour exit velocity. That's elite. That's a skill. Not everybody has that skill. If you look at the majors this year, if you hit the ball at least 100 miles an hour, that's a .651 batting average. That is over 80% of all home runs.
A big part of this journey for these athletes is a stop, and it's a sobering stop, certainly at Rady Children's Hospital, but it's also heartwarming to see the families. These young men take it with them. They hope into the major leagues. They will then give back. We will go with them now into Rady Children's Hospital.
To date, throughout the years, the Perfect Game All-American Baseball Classic has raised more than $800,000 for Rady Children's Hospital. And the current totals right now for all of the players who are fundraising, the West is at $28,940 and East is at $30,140.
To be able to interact with kids and to see the machines that they're attached to and what they have to do, just to be able to sit down and play a board game has a lasting impact that these kids are really going to take with them.
I'd do anything to hang out with these kids because they don't get the chance to do what we get to do, and I appreciate everything that Rady's Hospital does for these kids, and it's awesome that I get to talk, sit down with these kids and experience somewhat the life that they have.
Great to see honorary chairman and soon-to-be Hall of Famer Trevor Hoffman. And, of course, Bryce Terang really touched Bryce's heart. Let's go down to the dugout. Brett Dolan is catching up right now with the talented shortstop. Guys.
Bryce Terang from Corona, California is the #1 infielder in the class. He and his teammates had a chance to go to the Rady Children's Hospital on Friday. And, Bryce, what type of impact did that make, not just meeting some of the young patients, but also interacting with them?
It was awesome. I mean, I got the chance to meet these kids and see what they go through, but not really how they, like, it's a tough thing to do, and we get the chance to play baseball, and stuff we don't like doing is they would wish that they could do.
I'm sure it was quite a reminder that you can make an impact, not just on the field, but also off with these young patients that looked up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I love making impacts on people's lives. I mean, people made impact on my life, so why not do it to those young kids?
And these players combined to raise more than $60,000 for pediatric cancer. Darren, back to you.
Good karma coming your way, young man. He'll lead off the ball game. Let's get right to it. We came here to play a game of baseball. Let's preview the 2018 draft right after this break. Inning number 1, lineups. We'll get going. The Perfect Game All-American Classic from San Diego.
Buster Posey loves being in control.
Wait. Gorgeous, gorgeous day. All weekend has been wonderful for these athletes at Petco Park. And Kumar Rocker, we talked about him quite a bit. He has taken his proper place on the mound, the talented right-hander out of Georgia. But before he took his place, that's how they took their place. Will Banfield, his TV league catcher, his fellow Vanderbilt commit, getting things going. Let's take a look at the starting lineup with Terang out of California, Arizona's Nolan Gorman, Kelnick is out of Wisconsin. Some power in Jordan Groshans. There's our Michigan man, Bryce Bush, a Canadian and a talented catcher, Noah Naylor. Nicholas Northcutt is a Vandy commit. Preston Hartzell from just up the road in Newport. Joe Gray Jr. Spirited, talented outfielder from Mississippi. Alec Thomas, maybe a college football player as well. And Osiris Johnson. Jimmy Rollins, his family member. The man on the bump, Kumar Rocker. That's enough talking for me. Tell us more.
Well, I think everybody's going to love what they see out of Kumar Rocker. First, you see that size, 6'5", 250 pounds. He's got a very big, strong lower half, and that's where he gets a lot of the velocity from. And, only 17 years old. There's not a lot of body fat on that 250 pounds. He's an athlete.
So, Rocker ready to go. And Bryce Terang leads things off. And away we roll. Terang takes a fastball that gets the inside corner. Chuck Laux is behind home plate. Terang, a commit to LSU. And a very, very skilled player. There's a sweetness to his swing.
Oh, no doubt about it. He's very polished. You'll see a lot of midfield to opposite field contact. He really waits and lets the ball get deep. He's going to draw a lot of walks at the next level. Really a prototypical leadoff type hitter.
His dad Brian played in the big leagues for the Mariners. His mom was a great softball player at Long Beach State University. Carey takes a pitch, lets it travel deep, and flips it the other way. So there's something about letting it travel where you may not generate the power you want, but boy, you can be a pain in the backside in your at-bats.
Well, one of the things I like about just watching him right now is the fact that he's making an attempt to battle up there. Oftentimes you see a lot of young players always trying to swing for the fences, even with two strikes, but not so with Bryce Terang.
Yeah, he's an outstanding left-handed swing there, like I said, a high average. He's also a very smooth middle infielder, and I know middle infielders play because of their defense. This is a young man who has a chance to be a premium defensive middle infielder, but also be a key offensive weapon in any lineup.
He's part of the 40-man roster that will have an opportunity after going to Minneapolis to go to Thunder Bay and play in baseball's World Cup and represent Team USA. He played up a year last year and already has one gold medal. He lost this lumber. He definitely did. And he takes a fastball high from that talented right arm and a very gifted right arm of Kumar Rocker out of Watkinsville, Georgia, as the bat rolls on. No surprise when you talk about Rocker. I know that it was mentioned in the pregame show. His dad, Tracy Rocker, what an amazing football player he was. This is the scouting report.
Yeah, as I said, lots of lower half strength there, and he's throwing 97 miles an hour. There's his breaking ball, but he's doing it with so little effort. It looks like he's playing catch. We've talked to him, and he says, "No, it may look easy. I'm still trying awful hard, but from our point of view, it does look like he's not exerting much effort."
And this is the kind of at bat you will see from Terang as it rolls on.
Hi, I'm Pete from Big Apple Music and Electronics. You with the red shirt back here, you need a guitar? We have 500 on display. And with the blue shirt over here, camera surveillance systems, we have them and we're New York State licensed. And for all you folks with children in school, we have the best school band rental program anywhere. Plus, we install sound systems, cars, boats, homes, churches, restaurants, you name it. Big Apple Music and Electronics, New Hartford.
determination, dedication, unmatched, and unfiltered joy. Is there anything better than the game of baseball? The smell of pine tar, the touch of the leather as your hand disappears into the glove, the taste of the bubble gum, a sweet that elicits a smile. Perfect Game's desire to grow the game has and always will be elevated by the hundreds of thousands of athletes, their passion and love for baseball. Tonight, a pinnacle. For many, more than a decade of hard work leads to a celebration. The 2017 Perfect Game All-American Classic. Part of this great journey for these talented high school athletes starts in Mission Beach, in the Gaslamp District, beautiful San Diego, California, Petco Park, the Major League home of the San Diego Padres. These players have Major League dreams and talent to match. This is the 15th edition of the Perfect Game All-American Classic. These are the 53 of the most talented heading into their senior year of high school. And to back it up, you can look at the history of this game. 188 chosen as first-round picks, a name like Bryant and a name like Posey, Correa, Lindor, all alum of this game. It's really fun to get the stories being told right now as we look ahead to next year's draft. Hi there, folks, and welcome back to the ballpark. My name is Darren Sutton. This is Perfect Game's Vice President of Player Personnel and a scout, by the way, for more than 3 decades, David Ronsley. And, of course, you know this man, nearly a decade and a half in the big leagues, Dave Valley, and he's a sports dad as well. So I'm going to put all that in perspective. Start with the dad and the amateur athlete in you. How much fun would you have had having this opportunity? What does it mean to these young men?
Well, you know, as a dad, I traveled around with my son to Perfect Game all the way back to Lincoln, Nebraska. But to see some of the parents here celebrating the success of their children, for these young men to be able to play in a big league ballpark at the age of 16 and 17 years old, hit it out of the ballpark, you know they're going to be telling their friends, hey, I left Petco Park there with a long home run in the upper deck, because we did see a couple there today. But this is something that they will never forget, and they're going to really appreciate it a little bit later on in life.
All right, let's back it up with some numbers going back to last year and tell you how these players have earned it. Because if you think about the impact of the 16 game, look at how it touched the 17 draft. Royce Lewis, the #1 overall pick. Hunter Green, a huge name in amateur, now professional baseball. Jordan Adele, a young, talented, two-way athlete. So, David Ronsley, those are just some names. Who are we looking at for the 18 draft? Give me your top 5.
Top 5. It has a nice symmetry to it, Darren. We have an infielder, Bryce Terang. He's our top infielder. Left-handed hitter from here in Southern California. Very polished in all levels of the game, and he'll be a great performer immediately at the next level. Will Banfield, of course, a top catcher in the class. Really one of the best catchers I've ever seen at this age in all my years doing this. Great defensive player, has a strong bat from the state of Georgia. Next, of course, we have an outfield. You have to have an outfielder. Jared Kelnick from Wisconsin. I don't throw on 5-tool player a lot, but Kelnick might be one of them. He can run, he can throw big left-handed power. And, of course, you have to have pitchers. You know, the 2 big names in the pitching this year, and this is a big pitching class, both from Georgia. One, Ethan Hankins, big 6'6", 6'7" right-hander with a big fastball and great command. And, of course, the #1 guy in the class, Kumar Rocker, also from Georgia. He'll be up to 97, 98 today, I think, and he throws strikes and has a good slider as well.
Well, David said it. He's touched 98 a couple of times this summer at several different events. Earlier, Brett Dolan. Look out, Kumar, you're okay. Brett Dolan caught up with him.
Kumar Rocker is the #1 player in the class. His baseball role models include Pedro Martinez and Jackie Robinson. So, Kumar, last night you win the Jackie Robinson National High School Player of the Year Award. What was that like to hear your name? What did that mean to you?
Oh, it was truly an honor. It was the biggest award I've won at the level I'm at right now. And It's a blessing, thanks.
In addition to being the number 1 player in the class, Will Banfield's number 3, Ethan Hankins number 4. Not only are these guys fellow Georgians, they're on the same travel team. You guys are all committed to Vandy together. What has this journey been like to share it with those two guys?
Oh, it's been crazy. Just going through every event, looking at each other in the field like, oh, we've been with him for so-and-so 6 months, and it's fun hanging out with them, too. All
right, you're the starting pitcher tonight. Give me a self-scouting report.
Going in there and pound the zone is the best I can do. Throw strikes, stay in control.
Guys, Tracy Rooker is his father, the Outland and Lombardi Award winner at Auburn. We're glad, though, he chose baseball. Back to you.
And that squad, by the way, Team Elite, a very talented team. It's such a busy summer for these athletes, and Perfect Game was honored to have 4 of their All-Americans make a stop on their way. You see, in Vero Beach, Florida in July, there's a great effort. It's put together with USA Baseball, Major League Baseball, and the Major League Baseball Players Association, the Elite Development Invitational. It's an opportunity for 100+ at this very age out here to get a chance to show their skills and learn from some of the most talented in the game to grow the African-American presence in the game. We went down and caught up with those All-Americans in Vero Beach. The Detroit Sluggers, they'll tell you the rest. It's cold, man. It's cold. You should have a big excuse for being slow, and yet no one waits for you. The draft doesn't wait. College scholarships don't wait. So how do you stay sharp in the cold?
I say it's no excuse. We got plenty of places up indoors where you can put in work. It's basically work ethic. So you put in the work up there, you can come down and compete down here.
I like it, Weaver. I like it, Weaver. 1-1 right here. 1!
But I want to understand 2 great Detroit area sluggers, how you guys do things, okay? Teach me. Can you guys teach me?
Sure.
1!
Not too much movement with the hands, you know, because usually sometimes it kind of gets you off time a little bit. You're doing too much. You know, the pitcher might quick step. You never know. So, yeah, I just stay quiet and then just quick to the ball.
I like to stay loose and fluid, and I feel like when I'm too still or stiff, it causes me to roll over and miss it. So I like to stay loose and fluid all through the zone and just keep going. The biggest component to hitting the ball square is the head. With my leg kick, sometimes I have a tendency to move it a lot. Making sure your head stays still is probably the key component to driving the ball and hitting it square.
But as the pitch comes, I get my foot down, and then where I can see I'm already here through the path of the ball, so I can get a good vision and then take it somewhere.
Practice and how comfortable you are. Yeah, know your zone. So when the ball comes, kind of just you have a feel for it. It's not really something you should think about. You just have a feel for it, letting it get deep and driving it. And that just comes with practice and reps.
Well, because I know a lot of Southern, because it's mostly African-American, they're quick. So I know a lot of coaches that tell them to swing down at the ball, hit it on the ground, because they can probably beat it out.
Right.
But where we're from, we just work on getting a little carry on the ball so we can take it out, line drive everywhere.
This is an effort to raise African-American presence in Major League Baseball. Is it going to help?
I'm pretty sure it is, because, I was kind of surprised. There's actually a lot of kids here, they're committed to D1 college. And I even met some that's committed to state, where I'm going. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it should help. It should help big time. Get some experience with these ex-ball players. It's pretty rare. Some of the best instruction you can get anywhere.
What an honor, what a great initiative. The EDI, Osiris Johnson, Cabrera Weaver also there with Bush and Malcolm. When we come back, inside the numbers, the human metrics, we're going to introduce you to TrackMan, how scouts are using it to their advantage. The Perfect Game All-American Classic. We roll on from San Diego, California. Welcome to San Diego, All-Americans, the week that was. The great partnership with Nike, the gear. Oh, you bet, Will Banfield certainly enjoying a voicemail from Mike Trout. You bet. Welcome, gentlemen. Certainly an exciting week for these athletes, and obviously teaching portion of it comes into it as well. The personalized jerseys. You have to have some fun, and then the visit to Rady Children's Hospital. Certainly an impact that we'll touch on in just a minute. They were touched. Young patients were touched. Families as well. A very special part of it to the beach. Trevor Hoffman's house. All sorts of fun. Perfect game, All-American Classic. These gentlemen certainly enjoyed it. This is the part of it, Dave, that we talked about didn't exist back when you played it. It makes for a fun week. You know what else didn't exist? The advanced human metrics, TrackMan data, extension on a pitcher, launch angle for a hitter, defense, first step. It all is being monitored very, very carefully by Doppler radar. So, if you had this information back when you played, would it have been advantageous for you?
Probably would have been a Hall of Famer if I had this kind of information. But no, seriously, sabermetrics and the advanced technology is going to be a part of the game of baseball. But I think anytime you can take some of this information and apply it to your game, but I take it even more personally. If I'm 1 for 20, and my coach comes to me and tells me, hey, I got this information that your exit velocity has actually increased even though you're 1 for 20, that gives me confidence that I don't need to go back to the drawing board, change my swing, and make all of these adjustments.
Very interesting stuff. An old school metric is just old-fashioned velo, velocity. That's spiking right now with these young arms, David.
Oh, we all know, Darren, in the big leagues, the velocity is way up, and the same thing is happening at this level. We have the national showcase in early June, mid-June, and we bring in about 145 pitchers every year, the top seniors to be in the country, these age players we see on the field today. Looking at those numbers, the increase from 90, 92, 94, it's gone up 200, 300% just in the last 5 years. We're seeing this across baseball, and you're going to see some of it tonight with these 18 pitchers we're going to see tonight.
113, 90 or more. Mike Petriello, a great statistician and an expert for MLB.com. We've been talking about it all week. We'll pick up that conversation right now.
It's a really exciting time to look at some of the nation's best high school baseball talent. We've had guys like Corey Seager, Buster Posey, Justin Upton in this game in years past. You can guarantee some of these players will be starring on Major League fields in the very near future. Now, what's especially exciting about this is because it is a Major League park, we have TrackMan and StatCast hardware installed. We'll be able to put some numbers to the amazing things that these guys have been doing on the field. For example, we can measure exit velocity, and if you look at John Malcolm, a first baseman out of Michigan, he was tracked earlier this year as having a 100-mile-per-hour exit velocity. That's elite. That's a skill. Not everybody has that skill. If you look at the majors this year, if you hit the ball at least 100 miles an hour, that's a 651 batting average. That is over 80% of all home runs.
A big part of this journey for these athletes is a stop, and it's a sobering stop, certainly at Rady Children's Hospital, but it's also heartwarming to see the families. These young men take it with them. They hope into the major leagues. They will then give back. We will go with them now into Rady Children's Hospital.
To date, throughout the years, the Perfect Game All-American Baseball Classic has raised more than $800,000 for Rady Children's Hospital. And the current totals right now for all of the players who are fundraising, the West is at $28,940 and East is at $30,140.
To be able to interact with kids and to see the machines that they're attached to and what they have to do, just to be able to sit down and play a board game, has a lasting impact that these kids are really going to take with them.
I'd do anything to hang out with these kids because they don't get the chance to do what we get to do, and I appreciate everything that Rady's Hospital does for these kids, and it's awesome that I get to sit down with these kids and experience somewhat the life that they have.
Great to see honorary chairman and soon-to-be Hall of Famer Trevor Hoffman. And, of course, Bryce Terang really touched Bryce's heart. Let's go down to the dugout. Brett Dolan is catching up right now with a talented shortstop. Guys.
Bryce Terang from Corona, California is the #1 infielder in the class. He and his teammates had a chance to go to the Rady Children's Hospital on Friday. And, Bryce, what type of impact did that make, not just meeting some of the young patients, but also interacting with them?
It was awesome. I mean, I got the chance to meet these kids and see what they go through. but not really how they, like, it's a tough thing to do, and we get the chance to play baseball, and stuff we don't like doing is they would wish that they could do.
I'm sure it was quite a reminder that you can make an impact, not just on the field, but also off with these young patients that looked up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I love making impacts on people's lives. I mean, people made impact on my life, so why not do it to those young kids?
And these players combined to raise more than $60,000 for pediatric cancer. Darren, back to you.
Good karma coming your way, young man. He'll lead off the ball game. Let's get right to it. We came here to play a game of baseball. Let's preview the 2018 draft right after this break. Inning number 1, lineups. We'll get going. The perfect game. All-American Classic from San Diego.
Buster Posey loves being in control.
Wait. Gorgeous day. All weekend has been wonderful for these athletes at Petco Park. And Kumar Rocker, we talked about him quite a bit. He has taken his proper place on the mound, the talented right-hander out of Georgia. But before he took his place, that's how they took their place. Will Banfield, his TV league catcher, his fellow Vanderbilt commit, getting things going. Let's take a look at the starting lineup with Turang out of California, Arizona's Nolan Gorman, Kelnick is out of Wisconsin. Some power in Jordan Grosjean's. There's our Michigan man, Bryce Bush, a Canadian and a talented catcher, Noah Naylor. Nicholas Northcutt is a Vandy commit. Preston Hartzell from just up the road in Newport. Joe Gray Jr. Spirited, talented outfielder from Mississippi, Alec Thomas, maybe a college football player as well. And Osiris Johnson, Jimmy Rollins, his family member. The man on the bump, Kumar Rocker. That's enough talking for me. Tell us more.
Well, I think everybody's going to love what they see out of Kumar Rocker. First, you see that size, 6'5", 250 pounds. He's got a very big, strong lower half, and that's where he gets a lot of the velocity from. And, only 17 years old. There's not a lot of body fat on that 250 pounds. He's an athlete.
So, Rocker ready to go, and Bryce Turang leads things off. And away we roll. Turang takes a fastball that gets the inside corner. Chuck Laux is behind home plate. Turang, a commit to LSU, and a very, very skilled player. There's a sweetness to his swing.
Oh, no doubt about it. He's very polished. You'll see a lot of midfield to opposite field contact. He really waits and lets the ball get deep. He's going to draw a lot of walks at the next level. Really a prototypical leadoff type hitter.
His dad Brian played in the big leagues for the Mariners. His mom was a great softball player at Long Beach State University. Carey takes a pitch, lets it travel deep, and flips it the other way. So there's something about letting it travel where you may not generate the power you want, but boy, you can be a pain in the backside in your at-bats.
Well, one of the things that I like about just watching him right now is the fact that he's making an attempt to battle up there. Oftentimes you see a lot of young players always trying to swing for the fences, even with 2 strikes, but not so with Bryce Turang.
Yeah, he's an outstanding left-handed swing there, like I said, a high average. He's also a very smooth middle infielder, and I know middle infielders play because of their defense. This is a young man who has a chance to be a premium defensive middle infielder, but also be a key offensive weapon in any lineup.
He's part of the 40-man roster that will have an opportunity after going to Minneapolis to go to Thunder Bay and play in baseball's World Cup and represent Team USA. He played up a year last year and already has 1 gold medal. He lost his lumber. He definitely did. And he takes a fastball high from that talented right arm and a very gifted right arm of Kumar Rocker out of Watkinsville, Georgia, as the at-bat rolls on. No surprise. When you talk about Rocker, I know that it was mentioned in the pregame show. His dad, Tracy Rocker, what an amazing football player he was. This is the scouting report.
Yeah, as I said, lots of lower half strength there, and he's throwing 97 miles an hour. There's his breaking ball, but he's doing it with so little effort. It looks like he's playing catch. We've talked to him, and he says, "No, it may look easy. I'm still trying awful hard, but from our point of view, it does look like he's not exerting much effort."
And this is the kind of at bat you will see from Turang as it rolls on. Rice 6'1", about 165 pounds. Rocker, as you said, has got about 80 on him. With regard to size, Kumar's been a joy to deal with all week long. He buries the fastball in.
Oh, he's already made Rocker throw 9 pitches. He's doing what a leadoff hitter, should be doing, and that's Bryce Terang. He knows how to play the game.
Not trying to do too much. As you mentioned, 97 miles an hour, just an effortlessness to the big man out there on the hill.
Kumar with the fastball lifted into center field. Parker Meadows. You may remember Austin Meadows, former high draft pick, perfect game All-American, hauls that one in. Let's take a look at the defense around Meadows. It was Nicholas Shell and Elijah Cabell, a superb athlete in right field. Kendall Logan, Simmons, Georgia. Andrew DeSatis, originally from Panama. Jeremiah Jackson, big Tristan Cassis. We'll tell you more about him, and one of the best catchers in about a decade. Defensively, many say. Anyway, Will Banfield behind the plate. Nolan Gorman out of Arizona gets his opportunity. It's been a very busy summer for Nolan Gorman on the major league scene. He has traveled all around and shown his big bat out of Glendale, Arizona. #1 player in Arizona, #4 middle infielder in the United States, and he also can play in the corners as well.
For Rocker here, something interesting we just saw. He led off Gorman with a 90-mile-an-hour changeup, and then came back with 96 and 97. But think of that for a moment. He's throwing a 90-mile-an-hour changeup.
That's the arm, that's the gift, and it's been here for quite some time. His family's wonderful when you talk about Rocker to deal with. Reaching out to him over the last couple of years as he moved onto the scene and having a conversation with Lalitha, his mom, Tracy, his dad. They said, no, let's wait till he's heading into his senior year. We're going to keep things on the down low, a little bit quiet as he hits the outside corner with the breaking ball to Nolan Gorman.
Yeah, and that's something that Rocker has shown consistently all summer. If he's landing that slider in the mid-80s, that just makes him that more effective. It keeps people from cheating on that big velocity fastball, and then he drops that in. It's a tough at-bat.
Jared Kelnick, also a gold medalist last year out of Waukesha West High School in Wisconsin, as he fouls that fastball off 98 miles an hour.
Dave, you watched Kelnick take batting practice. You had some impressions on him?
Yeah, just watching all the young men get in the cage, everyone was trying to hit the ball as far as they possibly could. This young man stepped up in there and shot a couple of line drives out there to left center field, and then turned on one and came back and hit one down the left field line. He was working on his swing. You could tell he has a different feel for hitting than a lot of the other young men out there. Very polished. Just watching his swing, the great first baseman for many teams, John Olerud, kind of came to mind to me. Just had that friction-free swing.
Holds that back leg up, and the breaking ball is up and away. Rocker was headed off the diamond. Now a little bit high, Kumar. Another opportunity for Mr. Kelnick.
Yeah, this one has a little bit of a roll to it on top of the strike zone.
He goes back to work. That one just off the plate outside, says Chuck Laux, home plate umpire. Kelnick, by the way, travel team, Chicago Scouts Association, and also the Rawlings Hitters, as we see that one again.
One advantage Will Banfield, who's catching right now, has, of course, handling Rocker, as he catches them all summer. Very familiar with each other.
Hit hard on the ground, eats up Jeremiah Jackson. And Jared Kelnick squared that fastball up. He was ready after a couple of close sliders before. So Kelnick reaches. There's such a work ethic to Jared Kelnick. Now he gives way to Jordan Groshans, a Perfect Games National Showcase in June. This is a young man that showed great power. He's committed to go to Kansas out of Magnolia, Texas. Matter of fact, his brother Jax is a catcher, starting catcher for Kansas, and a Perfect Game alum as well.
So they had the inside track, is what you're telling me.
They did have the inside track. It's real power, though, isn't it? It's real bat speed.
It's real power. I was about to say Major League Baseball may have the inside track on this one. Because he's been great all summer. He's been great, at Perfect Game events. He's been great in team and in tournaments. He's just had such a strong summer with the bat. He's really opened eyes of a lot of scouts.
Kelnick gets a great jump right there.
Good speed of 6.5, 760 earlier this summer at the PG National Showcase. Arm angle a little bit low. He takes that one outside. And this is what you're talking about, David. This is his travel ball catcher, so he knows to come out. We won't see that all throughout the night. Like in all-star games, sometimes you catch the guy on your team, and that's the case.
No doubt. And this is the first 3 pitches that Rocker's throwing from the stretch after Kelnick reached. So he looks like he's opening a little early, rushing things a bit, and probably just what Will Banfield told him. Hey, calm down, big guy. Get direction of the plate, and we'll be just fine.
That one misses outside. We were talking about Dad Tracy Rocker, again going back to Auburn and very special stuff at Auburn. An All-American, a Lombardi Trophy winner, and a wonderful leader, certainly his father. And he's done a ton of coaching for 20-plus years, professional football, college football, so a wonderful family. Well, you got to know Bryce Bush as we came on the air, just outside of Detroit, Michigan. As he takes a fastball that darts over the outside corner. To Bryce Bush out of Birmingham, Michigan, the number 1 player in the state of Michigan, the number 4 third baseman in the United States.
Yeah, Bryce Bush is a fun hitter to watch, not only for the way the ball comes off his bat, but his whole approach. He's up there he's unapologetic. I'm going to swing hard. I'm going to hit the ball as hard as I can. It's a simple approach. Yeah, he's going to expand the zone occasionally like he did on that, but it's out of aggressiveness, and he has such quick hands. He talked about how he wants a quiet hands when he starts. Not a lot of hitters have the hand quickness to get away with that approach. That was a bit high right there.
And not a lot of hitters would have had the bat speed to catch up to 98 out of the strike zone, up over the top of the zone.
It was interesting, Dave. I know you heard what he said when he said, different parts of the country, hitters approach things differently. He plays to that scouting report, not wanting to hit the ball on the ground. He wants to drive the baseball.
Well, and I think we're starting to see that more and more prevalent in youth baseball, because I know when I grew up, I was taught swing down on the ball, hit the ball on the ground, and we know for a fact that is not the best way to be successful in the game of baseball. So to hear that coming out of a young man this early in his career, he just tells you how advanced he is.
Secondary pitch got him way out front that time. Rocker showed the big arm, the velocity, the pride of Georgia. What a preview for next year. Does that right column describe how talented the lineup is? Look at the commits. Jeremiah Jackson, Nander DeSatis, Will Banfield, big slugger Tristan Cassis, reclassified this year as an 18 grad. Kendall Logan Simmons has always dreamed of Georgia Tech. Elijah Cabell, last night's winner of the Nick Aidenhart Award. Nick Decker, Parker Meadows. Nicholas Schnell is committed to Louisville. Anthony Sigler is a switch hitter and a switch pitcher. He's everywhere. And this man just a left-handed pitcher, but a very talented one. Matthew Liberatore out of Peoria, Arizona, the number 2 player in Arizona, the number 5 left-handed pitcher in the state out of Mountain Ridge High School, plays his travel ball for the Central Florida Gators. He's committed to go to Arizona. Take it further, please.
Well, Matthew Liberatore, 6'5". He's got that prototype pitcher's body, and he's a young man who has really, really improved over the last year. He's always been a very successful pitcher, but he's really gotten so much better. He was throwing 85 last year, and now he's 90, 93, but it's still a low-effort delivery. But he's a pitcher. He's got 3 solid pitches. You're going to see a different breaking ball from him than you see from most. It's slow. It's 70 to 72, but it's got big spin and big, big size.
I love the fact that it talks about him pounding the strike zone, having the ability to command your pitches at this early of an age. It's very impressive.
And that's what David's talking about right there. Fastball 94, strike one. Mississippi State is thrilled to have Jeremiah Jackson headed their way out of Mobile, Alabama. Mike Jackson, his biggest impact. He talks so much about the leadership his grandfather has provided in his life. This is one of the top infielders and better athletes in the country, the number 1 player in the state of Alabama. In on the hands, he fights it off, and it finds green grass, but it's foul.
Yeah, I've taken to calling Jeremiah Jackson Mr. Smooth on the baseball field. He's one of these athletes that everything he does so smoothly. And watching him warm up before a game, watching him run the bases, he just does things so athletically smoothly. Doesn't mean he's doing any faster or any stronger, but it's sure fun to watch.
Yeah, he's been a great story this summer, the smoothness. By the way, his bats, now this might be hard because he has a bit of a tradition. When he gets a new bat, He sleeps with that bat. He brings it to bed with him. I don't know if he was able to bring that one into his bed with him last night and keep it, right by the glass of milk by his bedside.
He's going to have to take a quick nap between the on-deck circle and home plate.
But that's one of his traditions. Oh, Dave Valley, you baseball players and all of your things that you go through. Everything's lively, David, with that fastball, a little cut down and in.
Yeah, and I've seen Liberatore throw 4, 5, 6 times in the last 2 years. I've never seen him touch 94. He's just thrown 3 straight 94 fastballs. So these kids are a little bit excited right now. They're pumped up.
Little adrenaline flowing out there on a big league baseball field.
He kind of picked up the pace and quick pitched him on that windup too. Sneaky, sneaky. Nander DeSatis is not sneaking up on anybody anymore. He is originally born in Panama. This is a young man. He takes a fastball to the right side. He's committed to go to Florida State University. Switch hitter out of Montverde Academy in Montverde, Florida.
The first perfect game event Nander came to about 2.5, 3 years ago in Florida. He was actually still living in Panama, and it was only after that to further develop himself as there's the big curveball, as a baseball player, that he actually moved to the United States with his family, and started going to school here and developed as a baseball player. But he is definitely a Panamanian resident, until recently lived there.
Breaking ball just missed inside. As a young man, he was a great soccer player. Rushed him again.
This time with the curveball. This has got some big bite to it. I'd like to see what that spin rate on that curveball is.
It's pretty. I've heard stuff that he's probably got the second highest spin rate of any pitcher in this All-American game. We'll see the number. We won't spoil any secrets here, but he consistently is in the 29, 3100 RPM rate with that breaking ball.
Change up, down and away. Will drop third, striking in the end, turned into a strikeout by Canadian Noah Naylor, his battery mate. Working behind the plate. Naylor, a great story. We'll tell you more about the rest of his defense. As Nolan Gorman, Bryce Terang, Cyrus Johnson. Jimmy Rollins' nephew at second base. Bryce Bush is at first. Thomas, Gray, Helnick in the outfield. All very talented players. Alec Thomas, by the way, headed to play football and baseball at TCU. So we'll see how that goes. Will Banfield goes to work. First pitch swinging on the ground. Long throw across the diamond. More to say about Banfield. We'll have an opportunity to do so about the elite catcher throughout the evening. One of the books. This is presented by Nike Baseball. Just that good. And by Perfect Game, the largest and most respected independent scouting service in baseball. Look, the commissioner, Rob Manfred, has made it clear, I want more youth around this game, and he's gotten his wish. Youthfulness means this game's fun. Jordan Groshans, that's how you get ready. It's fun, gosh darn it, and they've had fun all week long. The very talented right-hander takes the mound. We talked about him coming on the air. 6 feet 6 inches tall, just a touch over 200 pounds. Ethan Hankins. He is moving up the ladder, outing by outing. He has had a spectacular summer out of Forsyth Central High School. Plays his travel ball like many for Team Elite. Tell us more.
Well, Ethan Hankins, he's listed at 6'6". He's still growing. I think he's been measured by scouts at 6'7". And much like Kumar Rocker, it's a very low-effort delivery. And that's what's surprising to people here. We're seeing 98, 95 mile-an-hour velocities, but guys like Ethan Hankins and Kumar Rocker throw strikes with it. I think Hankins walked like 6 guys in 50 innings in high school this spring. And he's going to fill up the zone. He's going to do it aggressively with his fastball.
He touched 98 earlier this summer at the Summer Showdown presented by G-Form. At Perfect Games, beautiful complex, Lake Point, just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. This is Texas A&M commit Noah Naylor out of Mississauga, Ontario, in Canada. And his brother Josh Naylor, if you're a fan of prospects of the game, was the first-round pick a couple of years back with the Marlins. He's now with the Padres organization.
And a completely different athlete, the two brothers. Naylor is a catcher, but he's so athletic. His older brother, a power-hitting first baseman. But Noah is the best athlete in the family.
94 miles an hour against a man who you say is a catcher but could also play shortstop in a pinch.
Oh yeah, you watch him take infield, and he's got actions. You watch him run the 60, and he's running a 6'6". It's just a very, very well-rounded athletic package.
#1 player in Canada amongst the 18 class. Boy, not only is it 96, but it's got some jump at the end, Dave Valley.
Not only jump, he really hides the ball extremely well. Take a look how that ball comes just right from behind his head with that good movement down and away from the left-handed hitter. Some late life to that pitch.
An opportunity to see a slugger, Nicholas Northcutt out of Mason, Ohio. William Mason High School. Coach Kurt Bly there. Breaking ball. Pretty pitch. Belt high, strike one.
And that's something that Hankins has really improved this summer, as we get a little bit of a quick pitch action right there, because Hankins will definitely do that. He's really improved his breaking ball. It's gone from 73, 74 to the upper 70s. It's sharper, and he's throwing it for strikes. And when you already throw that deceptively fast 95, 97 mile an hour fastball, to be able to land that curveball for strikes, has taken him to the next level.
He's given a ton of credit to his grandparents and the impact they have had on his life. Are you kidding me? With the pause and then the breaking ball, and down goes Northcutt. Wow, he's making it look easy.
Young men are learning a little from Johnny Cueto. Little shake, little pause right there, little hesitation right at the very top of the windup, and then drops a curveball on him. Sometimes it's just not fair.
Wow. Baseball America Pitcher of the Year. He earned that award last night as he darts a fastball over the outside corner. To Preston Hartzell out of Newport Coast, California, Corona Del Mar High School. He takes a fastball that misses high and away. He's had a really good summer. Ran fast at the National Showcase of 6.55. David, he's got a big arm in the outfield too.
Yeah, and his carrying tool is his bat. He was in the finals of the Home Run Derby this morning. I think he brought more fans with him maybe than any other player here from what we were hearing. But he's been good all week here, especially with the bat, and just a dynamic young athlete. Very strong. You really can't see it there with the sleeves on and the protective gear, but he's one strong young man.
Mom is Teresa, dad is Mark, and it says clearly about my mom. She reminds me and has taught me to be selfless, to put others first, put myself second. He's a USC commit. He doesn't chase that fastball, and he's a baseman. Right? You hear some of those fans down there. That's fun. But it's about an hour and a half up to the Newport Coast area. Hankins' arm angle maybe a little bit, we're not comparing Hankins to Rocker, but maybe a little bit lower. I don't want to say he slings it. That doesn't mean, that means he's not using his leverage. He uses his leverage, but it's a 3/4. Out of Mississippi, Joe Gray Jr., what a big personality. The #1 player in the state of Mississippi. He's an Ole Miss commit, the #2 outfielder. He's ranked by Perfect Game in the United States. Almost threw that one. Sidearm 95 miles an hour, 1-0.
Yeah, Gray primarily known for his defense at this point. He's a streaky hitter. I've seen him hit probably the longest home run I saw all summer, but one of the best defensive outfielders in the class.
That jump on the fastball that Dave Valley talked about took it right into his knuckles. I think Gray thought he was going to square that one up, Mr. Hankins. No, you're not. Before they head to the ballpark, your favorite players head to MLB Central, the morning show where baseball's best jump on the board all season long. As the pennant chase heats up, catch MLB Central presented by Hyundai. Weekdays at 10 Eastern only on MLB Network. Great advancement in technology, evaluating your swing in a partnership. Perfect Game with Diamond Kinetics. With more on how to understand this great new technology, let's get back down to Brett Dolan.
We're going to try. CJ Handren is the CEO of Diamond Kinetics, and we hear so much about exit velocity and launch angle, CJ, but you're going to introduce us to maximum acceleration and impact momentum. Explain.
Yeah, when you think about exit velocity and launch angle, it's really what happens after the ball leaves the bat. So what we do with our technology is we're able to take that back a step, where we look at now what is the player doing with their swing that are creating those outcomes. You can kind of think of it like cause and effect, where the swing is the cause and things like exit velo and launch angle are the outcome. And you use this information in a lot of different ways, whether it's a player and a coach working to get better. But in the case of an event like this, in Perfect Game and scouting and recruiting, it really gives us an opportunity to include tangible, objective, measurable information into what the swing is all about and what the player can do with that. It just helps improve the talent evaluation process.
Guys, I'm sure you have that all down, so I'll entrust you to dispensing the information the rest of the night from Diamond Kinetics.
Great stuff. We appreciate joining, and obviously we will track those metrics, several using the bat in the game. J.T. Ginn takes the rock and he rolls out of Brandon, Mississippi. Plays for the East Coast Sox. You maybe remember Chris Snowpack. He runs the East Coast Sox. But this is a big arm, Mississippi State commit.
Yeah, we're probably going to be seeing 94, 97 out of J.T. Ginn. It's a big power arm, 96 on that first one. But also a young man who's a very good athlete. He, believe it or not, hit 16 home runs and drove in 66 runs this spring playing for Brandon High School, in addition, of course, to what he does on the mound.
Tristan Cassis goes after the first one. Look forward to talking more about Tristan throughout the evening out of Pembroke Pines, Florida. Big-time slugger out of American Heritage High School. And a young man, he and his father and his brother Gavin, a very, very unique relationship as they have gone through a majority of their teenage years without mom as she passed away. And oh, the strength and the grit for this young man as he is the first out of the inning. Kendall Logan Simmons now. Been down to Macon, Georgia. You might run into Kendall if you've been down there. Taunton Hall Academy. He looks at 96 from Ginn.
Simmons, a very strong right-handed hitter. Big power when he gets into it. He squares that one up.
You were saying he drives that one up against the wall. Kendall Logan Simmons hustling on around. Into second with the double. Well, what a beautiful swing. Taunton Hall Square Academy, and he unleashed that one. This is a young man that is the number 5 player in the state of Georgia.
That's some bat speed right there. Quick hands. This pitch is down and in. And he's able to golf it right down that left field line. Turning around a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Speed, there is no substitute.
Speed and strength.
And we go from one very talented, strong, and speedy man to another. Elijah Cabell, an LSU commit out of Winter Park, Florida. The NXL Academy, plays for the Central Florida Gators. Right up on the plate. Leg kick. That fastball a bit too much for him as he pops it to the right side. Let's watch the communication, the athleticism of the youngest man on the field out of the Bay Area with a big arm, Osiris Johnson.
Yeah, Osiris doesn't turn 17 until mid-October, which means when he goes through the draft and all, if he signs, he will play his whole first year as a pro at 17 years old.
I love that field awareness right there. He knew exactly what was going on. Caught the ball, got rid of it, so that they could not advance to third base.
The Perfect Games National Showcase, he touched 86 throwing across the infield through the same number from the outfield. As we introduce you to Nick Decker, he takes his shot out of Southampton, New Jersey, Seneca High School. Good-looking breaking ball from Ginn that misses low.
We were watching Matt Liberatore last inning throwing the 72, 74 mile an hour breaking ball. Ginn's is a power curveball, 83, 84 miles an hour. And when he's landing it in the strike zone, it is a plus pitch.
He's really done great work in the classroom too, Ginn. As we mentioned, Mississippi State coach Cannizzaro awaiting his arrival should he arrive. 17 honor roll, 25 plus ACT award, really takes care of things where he's supposed to. That fastball zips right on by and it's fouled off from Nick Decker. Decker's a Maryland commit. Hit some big exit velocity at the National Showcase, up to 99 miles an hour. And you'll hear this a lot, but he too, a very good student, National Honor Society member. A changeup, not a bad pitch. Nick Decker loves Mike Trout because he's from Jersey.
Yeah, and he plays on the same travel team as Trout did, the Tri-State Arsenal. And he's been one of the stars of the summer circuit, especially for the last couple of weeks. He has really, really hit the ball and has become one of the top hitters in this 2018 class.
So Decker draws the walk in front of Parker Meadows. Long, lean, athletic, strong, Grayson, Georgia. He's a Clemson commit. Ginn will deal with him, plays his travel ball for Team Elite. Now, if you really love baseball and you follow prospects, you may remember a couple of years back, a 2012 perfect game All-American. Austin Meadows, Pittsburgh's first-round pick. He's ended up playing nearly 400 games in the minor leagues. He's all the way to AAA in the Pirates organization. Different athletes, similar athletes?
Different athletes. Much we were talking about Noah Naylor and his brother Josh being different athletes. Parker and Austin Meadows, different athletes. He's listed at 6'4". I think he's taller than that. He has like basketball legs. And he's more of a speed player than Austin. You think, okay, he's 6'5", 200 maybe, and you think that's a power future type thing. But he's one of the fastest players on this team and a very graceful runner in addition to the raw top end speed.
So he basically grew an inch by the time they printed it.
Yeah. No, you just look at him.
There's Bro.
Hey, there's Austin.
Nice piece of hitting right there, staying inside that baseball, driving it down the left field line, and that one went out to left center field.
It has been a very successful minor league journey. That's a nice changeup that is rolled foul. In Austin's minor league journey, he works his way back to health, but he's hit 293 with 360 on base. He has really done good work.
And they both, you can tell they were coached by the same people, raised the same way as hitters. It's a similar swing. It's just a different athleticism where Austin was stronger at the same age. Parker just hasn't gained that strength yet.
Trying to sneak in and grab the extra bag on a ball in the dirt, and having none of it is Noah Naylor. He fired a strike down to Nolan Gorman. Great Kendall, Logan, Simmons had a double. Our analyst loves this.
Say what, when every time your third baseman helps out the catcher right there, you love it.
The impact of this game as a stage to show your stuff has had the kind of impact that these athletes want. The All-Star selections, the Rookies of the Year, MVP awards, and as we mentioned earlier, names like Harper and Correa and Lindor, and on we go. So many. Perfect Game as a whole has seen in all of its events more than 1,000 head to the major leagues, 1,031. A new arm to introduce you to. His name is Mason Denneberg. He's a two-way player. He's a catcher as well. And the talented and athletic Alec Thomas hits one a mile high to the left side, and Nick Shell unable to make the play out there in left. So we got to see, here's the blessing, we got to see the speedy Chicagoan run in Alec Thomas. He's a TCU commit, beaten by the fastball. He also, by the way, is Mount Carmel High School's starting quarterback in the Chicagoland area.
Now, something I've noticed all week, I've been out here for a week scouting other events too, up in Long Beach, and the outfielders really have had trouble with the California sky. Nick Schnell's from Kokomo, Indiana. This may be the first time he's played in California, but I've noticed outfielders all for the last week, 10 days, have trouble here in California.
Osiris Johnson, the young man, as we talked about. This man in this game, still 16 years old, out of the East Bay area, Alameda, California. Dealing with Mason Denneberg out of Merritt Island, Florida. There's a big arm with big velocity. An excellent catcher, ranked in the top 5 in the United States by Perfect Game. But a major league arm, we're talking about an arm that touches the mid-90s, correct?
Oh, no doubt. Touches 97. And to be a catcher and to be a frontline pitcher, and he would be on the All-American team if he only played catcher and only pitched.
Wow.
But to be able to combine those positions, and Dave, you caught for your whole life. Can you imagine going out on the mound after catching?
It's my dream to be able to become a pitcher, right? All catchers want to be pitchers. All pitchers want to be catchers. This young man gets a chance to do both of them.
Dealing with the Fullerton commit, who hits a high fly ball to right field. Elijah Cabell is tested by that high sky once again. Easy advance there for Alec Thomas. Osiris Johnson. The fly ball out to right field. Moving on to Bryce Terang. Denneberg has done both and done it very well this summer. The range of Cabell.
It would be nice to see Elijah Cabell make a throw, whether it to be third or home in this game, or it would be a close play, because his arm is something else. It might be the strongest outfield arm in this class.
Through 94 at Perfect Games National Showcase. Another opportunity to watch Bryce Terang hit a swing and a miss. Terang flied to center field, but it was an 11-pitch at bat against Georgia's Kumar Rocker to start this game off. He takes a fastball low from Denneberg.
He really showed great plate discipline, but also really battled once he got to 2 strikes. Battled off some really tough pitches.
Changeup and a good one. Roll to the first base side. Little tap dance by Tristan Cassis goes back to the bag. The second out of the inning, and Terang, top players in the country, the #1 shortstop in the United States, goes down.
And Denneberg's still at the point, that changeup significant because he's still at the point where he's learning as a pitcher. We've talked to him about different grips and stuff, and I'm not even sure he's even thought deeply about pitch grips and making the ball move. But you can see the arm strength and the athleticism to throw strikes consistently is definitely there.
Arizona native Nolan Gorman. Gorman drives one to deep right field. Looking up is Cabell. Goodbye! The pride of Arizona touches them all. Nolan Gorman just crushed one.
I think that surprises almost no scout here, because Nolan Gorman's been doing this all summer. It's big power. It's big foul pole to foul pole power. But to see him get around on 96, I think, on the inside half, that was impressive.
Just watching him join BP, he does have the ability to keep those hands inside the baseball, but just stays through it. A pretty swing right there. There's no doubt that this ball was leaving the ballpark here at Petco.
And we've talked about Kumar Rocker, Dave, and Ethan Hankinson, how easily they throw hard. That's an easy swing. There's not a lot of effort there.
Gorman gives way to Jared Kelnick now, and the fastball misses in. So Gorman, who, by the way, was the winner at Major League Baseball's All-Star Game of the high school home run derby, with everybody looking on, the thousands during a commercial break of the big boy home run derby. That's the power you're talking about. Mom is Jennifer, dad is Brian, and he was a finalist for that Jackie Robinson Award. So Gorman homers, gives us a moment. Folks know of slugger Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo homered in this ballpark in this game, and they're still talking about that one, as he now is a major league home run hitter. Maybe Gorman on that same kind of journey. Kelnick, fastball, fly ball. One step back, now coming on in. Nicholas Schnell makes the play for the out. Oh, Nolan. All of us have to head back home. I'm guessing he's going to take her out on that baseball. Back to Arizona. All season long, MLB Network. If you're not watching MLB tonight every single night, then something is missing in your life. More than just highlights, live look-ins, analysis. You'll get the whole picture. MLB Tonight every night on MLB Network. We've seen a lot of velocity, as David previewed in our opening segments of this Perfect Game All-American Classic. Another talented arm. Austin Becker goes to work, the right-hander. This is a young man out of Sunbury, Ohio, the #1 player in Ohio, the #1 right-handed pitcher in the country. He's a young man that this summer, amongst other things, has touched 94 miles an hour at Perfect Games National Showcase.
Yeah, Austin Becker's what you're looking for in a young pitcher. It's a very projectable build, 6'6", 185 pounds. He's going to get stronger. He's also a very good athlete. But you can see that 91, 94 growing. Real important thing with him is his consistency of his curveball, because he isn't consistent with it yet. Very common for a 17-year-old, but when he does get over it right, it's a potential plus pitch.
Mom is Teresa, dad is Kevin, and that fastball in on the hands. Buried way inside. More opportunities for Parker Meadows. There was a pick on the base pads to clean those base pads up, so he gets another opportunity against a brand new pitcher. It's pretty fun. He looks at a fastball that misses just off the plate at 89 miles an hour.
I think that was his changeup. You could see, you could see it from that center field cam, him playing with, and we saw Kumar Rocker throw a 90-mile-an-hour changeup earlier, and there was an 89-mile-an-hour changeup.
Yeah, there's the fastball, more like it at 96. Smooth fielding Bryce Terang over his shoulder. Makes the play for the first out of the inning as Parker Meadows is retired. And now an opportunity for Nicholas Schnell. He's a Louisville commit out of Indianapolis. Really talented, athletic family. Mom was a great athlete. Angie played college volleyball. His brother Aaron plays baseball at Belmont. Sister Bailey, volleyball at Western Michigan. So athletes all around in their house. Lines that one foul. Strengths, David, when you talk about Nicholas Schnell, he showed a very good arm at Perfect Games National.
He's an all-around player, and we always use projectable when we're talking about pitchers like Austin Becker. This might be one of the most projectable position players because he's not started to get strong yet. He's 6'2", 180 pounds. You look at his face, it's a young face, and he projects to get stronger. Think of him maybe in 2-3 years down the road weighing 195 pounds, and that swing is going to have that much more strength in it.
Just a little snapdragon breaking ball. He's throwing him back-to-back. Good tumble to that pitch. And a change in strike three. Wow. That was you wowing over there.
I tell you, just the movement on this changeup. It looks like he's holding it in a circle change grip. But watch how this ball just fades down and away. That's got some late action right there. That is a nightmare for a left-handed hitter.
And to be
good
honest,
arm extension and good arm speed, which creates that deception for the hitter.
And this is a developing pitch for him. He came in as definitely as a fastball, curveball guy. I've not seen too many changeups out of him, but that's obviously a major weapon in his toolbox.
Speaking of weapons and speaking of toolboxes, there isn't one big enough good changeup for Anthony Sigler to put all of his tools in. He hits from both sides. He throws on the mound from both sides. He's a great catcher, and I'm talking about upper 80s, touching 90 from both sides. He's an Auburn commit. Unique athlete, special.
That's the only way to describe Anthony Ziegler. We've talked to him about his ambidextrousness, and he will tell you he doesn't know which his dominant hand is, and he doesn't. I mean, it's just he's one of these unusual people that can do everything, and to be able to do it this high level, obviously, is another thing. But to do it with both hands, and it's something. I've never seen anything like it before in my life, and it kind of covers up just how good an athlete he is, Dave. I mean, you can look at him and break him down as a catcher when he's in the game catching, but he's plenty athletic enough to stay at catcher in addition to all those other things.
Stayed back on a breaking ball, hits a high fly ball to center field. Joe Gray Jr., Mississippi, are you watching? He just hauled it in. That's a pretty solid outing for that talented right-hander. Ohio proud of Austin Becker, the Vandy commit. Well, if you're an honorary chairman, you come speak at a banquet, maybe. No, not Trevor Hoffman, not at the Perfect Game All-American Classic. He opens his home to these athletes, and he has for more than a half-decade. He comes out, teaches bullpens, talks in private closed-door meetings with these athletes. But when you open your home, that's some kind of special, and these athletes very honored to head down to Del Mar and spend some time with the man who will be part of the 2018 Hall of Fame class. And we're always honored that his home in San Diego, meaning this ballpark, that he joins us up here. Trevor, my friend, thank you certainly for being here once again. We'll continue to introduce these players as we introduce you to our audience and remind everyone what a great job you do as the honorary chairman. And you really take the time. Look, there's the athlete in you. There's the former amateur athlete in you. That one is a high fly ball to center field and put away. And that one off the bat of Jordan Grosjean's. There's also the former amateur and the dad in you. You do a lot of speaking with these young men.
Yeah, this is kind of my little window of what I've gotten used to with my children, getting to see them participate in some baseball programs and kind of going through the high school situation, and now being able to be a part for Perfect Game has been kind of a great one-two punch.
That one popped foul back our way off the bat of Bryce Bush. By the way, we'll introduce you to Luke Bartnicki out of Marietta, Georgia, Walton High School, an excellent swimmer as well, an all-state caliber swimmer with a big arm. And he is a young man that's committed to go to Georgia Tech University. This is a a unique way to have a booth visitor because we and Trevor will go right along with to introduce these athletes. What's the best piece of advice you would want all of our young baseball fans watching to know that you maybe shared with these guys in private?
Yeah, I think really for me, the biggest thing is to always be cognizant of your career, regardless of what age you are. What you're doing on and off the field reflects not only your parents, but yourself. And you carry that last name with you and some of the things that you want to do and things that you should reflect on before you do anything is very important to your family.
Trevor Hoffman joining us in the broadcast booth. And then there's this trip. This is your town. You're proud of it. But how about these young men? Look, Dave brought us on the air and said, they didn't have this. I would have really appreciated it. You would have appreciated the trip like this, right?
I think it just goes to show how old we are that they didn't have things like this. American Legion was kind of our big wig thing. But, yeah, I look at it both ways. We've probably been overexposed if we'd have been in something like this. And my 85 would have never gotten a second look. So I'm glad we didn't have it for myself. But it certainly is a great opportunity for these guys to show their talents, to be able to do it in a big league ballpark and a great environment here in San Diego.
Breaking ball from Luke Bartnicki, misses just off the plate inside. By the way, he swims butterfly, and that's, he says, helps that shoulder. I mean, this is an elite level swimmer as he deals the 1-2. That one, well, right down the middle. Trevor, that was quick.
That was quick. Very, very. We kind of like those innings.
You used to have many of those. You had many of those. Thank you, my friend.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks
Dave,
for all you do, my man. Absolutely.
Honorary chairman. Next year, the Hall of Fame will belong to him and several others. Luke Bartnicki. I have a little more to tell you about him. He's special. Beautiful San Diego, California. The perfect game All-American Classic. The very best in the land heading into their senior year of high school. We remind you, by the way, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Why wouldn't you enjoy a trip out here? I know all of these athletes, even the ones that just drove down from Laguna Beach, have enjoyed this destination with all that goes along with it. And we thank Trevor Hoffman, albeit briefly, for stopping by out of Kokomo, Indiana. And it was at a great event this summer at about 1 in the morning that this young man at Perfect Game 17U World Wood Bat Association Championship touched 93 miles an hour while pitching for the Indiana Bulls and pitched his way onto the All-American Classic roster. In amateur baseball, it's lore, it's urban myth that goes along with how he earned his way here, because few were left there.
Oh, yeah, very few, and a lot of them were scouts. But, yeah, Jack Perkins has a high ceiling. It's a very fast arm. It's one of those fastballs. He'll touch 93 or 94, but it looks faster to the hitters because he hides the ball, and it's just a fast arm. It explodes, ball explodes out of his hand, and a curveball is a very solid second pitch.
He faces a man who also has some legend with him, and he's more than that. David Ronzu will make sure to point it out. But this is a young man that set the National Showcase record for his arm at shortstop. He threw 99 miles an hour. There's more, though, to Blaze Alexander than that gifted arm.
Oh, no doubt. And much like I said with Anthony Ziegler and his ambidextrousness, you know, his big, huge arm strength almost takes you away from appreciating his all-around game. Blaze Alexander would be in this game if he threw 90 from shortstop. You know, because he can play shortstop. He's quick. He's athletic. And I think he has a very underrated bat. He hasn't got strong enough yet to really drive the ball consistently. It's like the Nolan Gormans of the world. But the agility, the athleticism, the barrel control is all there to stay at short and be a good player, even without throwing 99 across the infield.
He's out of Cape Coral, Florida. FTB, Florida Travel Ball, is his travel ball team. FTB Tucci. Bishop Verot High School. He's taken his team to a couple of state runners-up and has done very, very well there. As a breaking ball bounces in, spikes there. And so Blaze, the arm, certainly will take him to South Carolina and that bat as well. That's where he's committed. Mom is Pamela, dad is Chuck. His dad played baseball at Western Michigan, so baseball in his blood. Good fastball, 94 miles an hour. That's some of that 1 a.m. stuff we heard about.
No doubt about it. He's pretty good at 6 p.m. as well.
So here's the thing. All of us parents say, hey, nothing good happens after midnight. This happened after midnight this summer.
That ball had a little get up and go right there, just up and out of the strike zone. Tough pitch to lay off as a hitter.
Down to Jeremiah Jackson out of Mobile, Alabama. One of many athletes as part of this game as he takes a pitch outside that is a member of the 40-man 18U roster that is headed very soon to Minneapolis, the U.S. team trials roster, trying to win yet another gold medal for Team USA. Interesting thing about it, if you look at the man behind home plate, Noah Naylor catching, he will be playing for the Canadian national team against some of these young men should they make the roster, the final roster of 20. And that's a neat part of the summer. An event like this, the Perfect Game All-American Classic, and then having a chance to make that roster, maybe go win a gold for Canada, as you see that man there, or for the United States. That one misses outside.
One thing you learn to appreciate about the summer circuit, whether it's Tournament of Stars, playing for USA Baseball, playing in Lake Point in July, these kids all get to know each other so well during the summer. They get here at the end of the summer, the All-American Classic, and a lot of them not only are teammates like a Banfield, Hankins, Rocker, but they've played the same events. They've played on the same teams in different venues, and they really bond through all this.
So is this the culmination for these young men for their summer prior to going to their senior year? Yeah. Or are there more tournaments to be played?
No, this is the culmination. I know USA Baseball, they play the championships there, the international competition in September, so there will be here. But as far as what we call the summer circuit, where the scouts travel in mass, the players travel in mass, this is really the last step on that summer circuit.
We'll get a chance to see the speed of Jeremiah Jackson. He ran a 6.8 60 at the National, and he is at first. Jackson out of St. Luke's High School, by the way, and now Nander DeSatis in his opportunity. Struck out back in the first inning. Just a little bit of two-seam dive to that fastball. And it's a talented fastball from Jack Perkins.
We saw Nander hit right-handed his first time up. Now we see him from the left side. I personally think his left side's a little bit stronger. For no other reason, he does it more, obviously.
He's a great athlete, as we told you earlier, was an elite soccer player as a young man in Panama. Has good speed, 6'6", 60. That one bounces in there. Mom is Itnada, and Dad is Nander. You've enjoyed your interactions with him, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. I really enjoy watching him play. And I didn't know about the elite soccer background before you and I were talking about it earlier. And you can tell by the way he plays middle infield that he has done a lot of lower half footwork type stuff, because especially when he's playing second base, you can see that footwork. He has outstanding defensive actions. And you have a defensive player like that who's also a switch hitter and's got some pop in his bat. That's a kind of potential first-round profile we're looking at.
Runner on the move. How about that throw? That is a pair of beautiful throws, Dave Valley, from the Canadian-born Noah Naylor.
This is what you talk about, catch and release. I was just fishing in Montana, and I learned you have to catch it and release it. This is exactly what he does right here. He doesn't even shift his feet. It's more of a weight transfer to the right side, and he throws a strike down to second base. Well done. Wow. This ball is just right on the money. All the middle infielders have to do right here is just catch the ball, let them slide right into the tag.
Perkins issues his second walk of the inning. Will Banfield was aggressive in his first at bat. He's a Vanderbilt commit, so we have a chance to tell you about the son of Christy and William, the #1 catcher in the United States, the #2 player in Georgia who does all things very well. And I would imagine this is a player that stays behind the plate going forward.
Oh, there's no question about that. When we see him catch, if we see him catch later in this game, watch how flexible he is behind the plate. You know, he can get down and just park and give the pitcher a low target with such ease and still have quickness shifting and such. It's really a unique tool at this level.
I've been watching him back there, catching some of these young men who are throwing 97, 98 miles an hour. He's got very soft hands. As you mentioned, he's very flexible. When he's catching that ball, his knees are almost on the ground, low, giving a nice low target.
Naylor been doing much of the same thing as Banfield, as you were speaking of him. Out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. Brookwood High School. Fastball, a lively fastball that explodes at home plate, and Banfield goes down on strikes. He'll go back to work behind the plate. Well, the story was at 1 a.m. No one saw it. Now the world has seen it on television. The 15th annual Perfect Game All-American Classic is presented by Nike Baseball. Just that good. G-Form. Tired of uncomfortable, restricted baseball guards? Well, G-Form has fixed that. G-Form baseball guards stay in the game. And sponsored in part by Rawlings, the #1 glove of pro players. Rawlings, the mark of a pro. Beautiful San Diego, California. From the Missions to a man on a mission to catch a foul ball. Well, that's how you do it. Some of the guys are having fun bringing that to the outfield and then enjoying playing a little bit of outfield work out there. Melbourne, Florida is the home of Carter Stewart. He's committed to go to Mississippi State, and the discussion centers around that last pitch, his first pitch, a breaking ball. He's got a very, very good one. Can touch David Ronsley up to 92 miles an hour as he faces Nicholas Northcutt.
Yeah, well, Carter Stewart is just unique, and I hope he has the opportunity to throw a number of his breaking balls, because they have been recorded at RPM rates higher than anybody in baseball. And we were talking to the TrackMan people about that. They went through their records for Korea, Japan, big leagues, minor leagues. Nobody spins a breaking ball as high as Carter Stewart.
So just for the sake of the discussion, as we see a fastball that rolls in on the hands, Jeremiah Jackson has moved to third base, and he makes the play for the out. An elite Major League number, elite, is 3,000. His high is over 3,400.
Yeah, over 3,500.
RPM, yes. So RPM, spin rate, by the way. We should be more descriptive.
Yeah, and it's a different context. When you're talking about somebody who spins the ball in a different context than elite level big league players, that's just different. And the unusual thing is he has only been prioritizing baseball for like 2 years. He was a golfer. You see the breaking ball there. He was a golfer when he came to high school. He was a state meet golfer, and he's just really picked up baseball the last 2 years as a serious sport.
For the first two hitters, he started them off with that big curveball.
This is part of, by the way, our perfect game stat of the game. Average spin rate of 33.17, highest of any player in 2017, including Major League Baseball. You were saying, Dave Valley.
It's got a little Bert Blyleven. Remember that curveball?
You bet I do.
Just a knee buckler as a hitter.
If it were a skyscraper, it dropped from the 11th floor to the first floor. And there's plenty of life on the fastball, David.
Yeah, and he's by no means near the hardest thrower in this game or in the class, but one of the best ways to project future velocity gains is by looking at curveball spin and the power on a curveball. He's throwing that curveball close to 80 miles an hour, and he's throwing a 89, 91 mile an hour. Okay. Fastball, but he's just going to keep improving that fastball as he physically matures.
Take a look at this. It starts up at the top, up at his face. This ball drops down to the knees. This is just the one that keeps your head shaking all the way back to the dugout. Like, you've got to be kidding me.
We've got to put Brett Dolan to work here in a bit. Maybe he can catch up with Carter, and we've got to learn the grip. We've got to know. I thought I knew all the secrets of these young men. Brett's got to help us. Joe Gray commits on a breaking ball with that spin rate that bounced in front of home plate. That's nothing against Joe. That's a compliment to the pitch.
No doubt. And you find yourself when you watch Carter Stewart as a scout turning into a fan because you want to see him. You want to see him pitch and use different pitches and locations, but you want to see the curveball as a fan as much as a scout.
Ray on the ground, out to Blaze Alexander. Pretty pick at first by Tristan Cassis. Carter Stewart, you did not disappoint. The pride of Melbourne, Florida. Central Florida Gators, his team. There's that arm of Blaze Alexander on a flip and a pick. Keep your eye on the ball with MLB Network's Quick Pitch. Get highlights from every game and previews of every upcoming matchup. It's the best way to stay on all the action all season long. Keep your eye on Quick Pitch. Presented by Degree tonight at 11 Eastern and every morning on MLB Network. Brett Dolan, Darren Sutton, Dave Valley, Dave Bronsley. Perfect Game All-American Classic. Trevor Hoffman has stopped by. We've got another special guest in a bit that will stop by. He's a southpaw, the man who will sit with us. So is this man out of Forney, Texas. His name is Jonathan Childress, Texas A&M commit. Banditos, his travel team, Forney High School. And this is a young man that touched 93 miles an hour at Perfect Games National this summer. Number 6 on that jersey.
Well, one thing here is Property's pitching right after Carter Stewart. What I like best about Childress is he has a very advanced feel for his secondary pitches. He'll throw both a curveball and a slider. He'll throw them for strikes. He'll throw them to different quadrants of the zone with a maturity you don't usually expect to see in a 17-year-old.
And lefty on lefty, a tall task for the very powerful Tristan Cassis. And a breaking ball to boot, and a really good one that dives down and away. 1-2 the count on Tristan out of Pembroke Pines, Florida. He's been a young man who is hoping to win another gold medal. He was able to win one last year, won one as a 15U for the U.S. national team. American Heritage High School. And this year, David, he made a decision academically. He had enough credits. He switched from a 19 grad to an 18 grad.
Well, I think for physical maturity and also emotional maturity, it was the right thing to do. We see a single up the middle off the bat of Tristan Cassis, because he's 6'4", 240. He committed to the University of Miami as an 8th grader, but he was this size. In fact, what he's worked very hard on over the last 3-4 years is becoming a better athlete, because he always has the ability to hit. He always had strength, but he has really worked hard on his athleticism. He could be easily playing third base in this game, even at that size.
Dave Valley, that was a great approach, lefty on lefty, keeping that shoulder hung in there. Wow.
You know, I had the chance to play with some great left-handed hitters. Ken Griffey Jr., Tino Martinez, guys who actually thrived against left-handers, and that's exactly what their approach was, to keep that front side closed and be able to get the hands to the baseball. And that was a tremendous approach right there, driving that ball right back through the middle.
Kendall Logan Simmons doubled back in the second inning. Oh, what a curveball we saw earlier. We've got to know how he does it. We put him on assignment. Brett Dolan, can you figure it out for us, please? We lost Brett for just a moment down there. He'll hold on with his thought as that breaking ball. I think you're there now, Brett. Yes?
Hopefully. All right, we got Carter Stewart here. We talked about the great spin rate. Show us that curveball and how you grip it and how you let it go.
This is just how I grip it. I mean, it was kind of my own thing. As I've grown up, I was holding it almost like a two-seam, and then I just moved my finger over a little bit of a coach's help, but more, it was kind of my own thing. It was easier to throw this way. So as I continued to develop and get taller, I started throwing it over the top, and I figured out that, I mean, it was good. And I come and they tell me that, I mean, it's got all this spin and all this great things. I mean, so it was just kind of my own thing, and it's pretty simple, really.
Your numbers just blow away the spin rate of anybody else in baseball. It doesn't matter what level, including the major leagues. So when you throw that pitch and you know you've thrown a good one, what type of reactions do you get from the hitters, and how much do you enjoy making them look foolish?
Most of the time, 95% of the time at least, it's a swing and a miss. Usually, a lot of times it's in the dirt. It's I'm trying to spike it against a lot of good hitters, 0-2, 1-2. Even, I mean, first pitch, because most of the time they're looking fastball. But, I mean, the reactions are just some of the greatest thing. I mean, they'll swing and miss, and I mean, they miss by a foot. Like, I've got 2 or 3 swing and misses today that they weren't even close. They were swinging over the middle of the plate, and it hit the dirt 3 feet in front of them. So it's really enjoyable for me.
Great job, guys. How much fun was that to watch today?
You bet, and thanks for getting a great teaching segment down there. Brett Dolan, by the way, you saw coming in and going to work John Malcolm running for Tristan Cassis, the pride of Detroit, Michigan. We got to know him. And our pregame show as Elijah Cabell waves through that one. They keep telling me it just keeps spinning. They tell me it's a good pitch.
That was a reaction of a 17-year-old young man who, hey, gee, this might be pretty good. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's fun watching those hitters swing and miss by a foot. I like that.
There's John Malcolm, West Bloomfield, Michigan, Detroit Country Day. One of the better bats in the country. He is a fast mover. His last 6 months have been explosive with regard to his growth. He was a 100-mile-an-hour exit velocity guy at the National Showcase. Breaking ball line the other way. Terang makes the play, fires on over to Jordan Groshans and turns it into a double play. From the man from Cali to the man from Texas. Buried that pitch in. He can play just about anywhere he wants on the middle infield. The 15th annual Perfect Game All-American Classic is presented by Rawlings, the #1 glove of pro players. Rawlings, the mark of a pro. Beautiful San Diego, California, from the Midway to this ballpark, and a man who, well, he's a legend as a major leaguer. Big wins, a lot of important innings. But the fun thing about him now is he's a dad, and he's passionate about the amateur game. We're honored to be joined by a man who calls a lot of games and does a lot of work with MLB Network. Al Leiter, my friend, you go from the guy who's the big leaguer to you're a big league dad now. You're a dad who's keeping an eye on your son.
I thought you were going to say, Darren, we had Dave Valley go out and go have a little popcorn and something to drink. But, yeah, this has been unbelievable. Had a chance to play 19 years of Major League Baseball. And, yes, Darren, as you know, my son, he'll be a rising junior and enjoys baseball like every one of these kids that we're watching. And, David, you scout. I know what you do with Perfect Game. And every time when I see this, and I wasn't listening the whole time with what Dave Valley said, but I think about, I know 30 years plus have gone for me as a junior in high school or soon to be senior in high school. These kids have to be beyond thrilled. I know they act cool because they have to, because they got Twitter accounts and Instagrams and everything else that they have to deal with social media. But what an event. Really, really, truly. Fantastic.
I told you when you came in here that I would do a lot of introducing, so that we'll let you talk, then I'll introduce a guy like Brandon Neek. Glad to have Alan here. He's got a lefty. He can talk about Neek out of Chappaqua, New York, Horace Greeley High School, Tri-State Arsenal, his travel team, and a young man, David, who touched 93 at the National Showcase and pitched very, very well at the 17U World Wood Bat, all-tournament performer.
Yeah, and he's very polished. We used to think of kids from the Northeast as being behind because they don't play as much, and that really doesn't work anymore. Brandon's one of the more polished pitchers in the country. Hitters don't see the ball. It's a simple delivery. He works from the stretch. Maybe, Al, you can address that. But even a young man just working from the stretch and throwing strikes and using all his pitches. Curveball is his best pitch as well.
Yeah, I don't like it. I even watched the earlier in the game with Hankins. I mean, listen, you see David Price and other guys that are doing, and Brandon Neek, he's in the same club team as my son with Tri-State Arsenal. Fantastic. I'm with you. No, I think the simplicity of watching pitchers, and I didn't see Ethan Hankins up close or live, but he's got the little quick step and then trying to slide step and trick guys timing wise. You trick or at least offset the timing of hitters based on your pitches. And I think that, the arms are exceptional, what we're seeing here.
Yeah, and we talked earlier about how velocity has really increased. Just in the last 5 years has increased dramatically, much like at the big league level, but the same thing's happening here as well.
Neek fires that fastball.
Darren, sorry, but Brandon, listen, this kid, I don't know whether he's going to go on to college or sign professionally, as many of these guys are first, second rounders, top rounders. But I say it, I don't like it because it is kind of old school, right? A big wind-up delivery. I'm not talking about a Sandy Koufax delivery or Don Drysdale. But, utilize your motion as a full delivery. Now he's going to come to a set now.
And he'll have to come to a set as he walks. Alec Thomas, the leadoff hitter, has a chance to deal with Osiris Johnson. But you are, besides being a father, and that's where the heartbeat of it is. You are a passionate man about the growth of youth baseball in this country. Actually, participation's up, and you're excited.
I am. I mean, Darren, I know we've talked about it, and I think this organization has done a fantastic job in really being the best organization to get all of these great players, and not only just here as the top All-American players, but the various places around the country to have an opportunity for local club teams to eventually get to a place where in turn you're trying to get the eyeballs, in this case college coaches and recruiters and scouts, to see great players against great players. Because David, I mean, it doesn't happen prior to perfect game, but most of the time you'd come into a local area, wherever it is, and see, a Dave Valley in New York or an Al Leiter in New Jersey playing against, other high school kids.
Osiris Johnson, a mile high center field. Nick Decker's out there working now, and he puts that one to bed. Well, we've talked about you being a passionate dad, and then there is the scouting report. David, this is your scouting report, so take it away.
This is my scouting report from a couple days ago, and Al, it's not the only time I've seen your son pitch, but he's got a very polished delivery. You've obviously probably talked a lot about mechanics and everything, and he throws strikes with that fastball. Upper 80s, mostly touch of 90, but he throws it for strikes. He throws it with the different quadrants of the zone. And it's not a Carter Stewart curveball, but he gets big depth on that curveball. It's a good second pitch.
Well, that's nice of you, David. Listen, I think, I think of all of these kids and watching the exceptional arms that we're watching here at this All-American game. But it's an absolute growth time for all of these players. They're feeling their way. I'm going to be honest with you. Oh, here we go, right here, Darren.
A little one that skips away from the arm of Malcolm. Seth Halverson gets the call. He's in the batter's box all the way to third. We love seeing Alec Thomas, the man out of Chicago, run. He runs there on a miscue. Halverson in the batter's box had a chance to introduce him as he takes his chance out of Plymouth, Minnesota.
And now, Alec Thomas, we were talking about Bryce Strang as a consummate leadoff hitter profile earlier in the game. Alec Thomas fits the same profile. He's fast, he'll take pitches, and he can cause havoc when he gets on the bases, which we saw there.
Know what you're bringing to the party. Alec Thomas, he's not a guy that's going to backleg in, hit a ton of home runs, utilize your speed, and create havoc, as we just saw.
You're talking about as the infield is pulled in this age of development, sophomore year to junior, junior year to senior.
Yeah, and the build-up process. The only little concern in trying to figure out, particularly, let's narrow in on arm injuries, is that I really marvel at and maybe kind of wince or leery of the great velocity at such young age. Because the bottom line is that, guys, they're still 16, 17, 18, some of them. And some of them even earlier, as we see, this, watching kids in freshman year throwing 90-plus. I mean, it's still a young boy's body that's growing into man muscles.
Yeah, and there's people have cited a lot of reasons. I get asked all the time, why more velocity? I think part of it is just the kids are stronger now. Their diets, their workout routines, and it reflects everything in society that's going into sports. They're just bigger and more physically capable at this age than they were, certainly when you played, but even 5-10 years ago.
Halverson is a Mizzou commit. Mom is Lisa, dad is Brent, and both of them great athletes at Illinois State.
David, that's a good point, but I'm going to disagree a little bit. I think ultimately, because of velocity mattering, and it's everywhere, the radar gun is out, right? We can pan behind home plate and see 50 of them pointing at Neek right now. As a result, as a parent / player, pitcher, that in order to get on the radar, you have to throw X. There's some keen scouts that are looking at size and pitchability and growth and will he grow into his body, etc. But that's really the accelerator to get to that spot. So what do? You train to throw the ball harder, as opposed to just natural growth of it. Of a kid who's 85 and then gets to 87 and then 89 and then ultimately what we're seeing many of the spectacular first round arms.
Pretty fastball over the outside corner. A challenge for this man. He was up to the challenge. Our Rawlings home run of the game. Rawlings, the #1 baseball brand. Nolan Gorman, the pride of Arizona. He leaned on that one, David. And it was a no-doubter, by the way, as he deals with the left-hander.
And I think you'll see in Nolan Gorman a hitter, like talking about earlier, who keeps that front shoulder in exceptionally well against left-handers. Him pulling the ball with that authority is not always his game. He's a left-center type hitter most of the time, and I think you're going to see him get a good swing against the left-handed Meek.
We told you about Gorman. As many are out here on the 40-man 18U, he will be headed to the team trials and have an opportunity to make that 20-man roster and go win a gold medal for the United States. Thunder Bay, Ontario at the Baseball World Cup. I wish this man and his mates with that opportunity best of luck. That one misses. Grabs the outside corner, 2-1 the count. Now Leiter's with us. David Ronsley, Darren Sutton. Dave Valley is taking a walk around this beautiful ballpark while Al comes in. And Brett Dolan's down in the dugout, the 15th Perfect Game All-American Classic. San Diego, California. Well, that's a lively arm. That misses low. 3-1 the count. The interesting thing that we think about, Al, when we watch these talented players is there are, off the field, a lot of young men making a lot of good decisions, and that's encouraging. I mean, really encouraging. You don't get here without making good decisions on a Friday and a Saturday night.
Boy, Darren, I mean, you're saying that right, and especially with the social media pressure of understanding, and hopefully they do, of not doing anything dumb via Twitter or some other media outlet that could jeopardize whatever a viewpoint.
Sure,
I've heard that from multiple coaches how they watch these guys, and you're right, Darren. These are quality kids that happen to be really good baseball players.
Well, if not, someone else will take the spot on this roster. I mean, you talked about, David, the arms and the opportunity to select pitchers, the depth this year, not just with pitching but position players. It's a difficult selection when you're getting it on down to 53 in this case. As that one is outside, that's ball 4.
Yeah, realistically, I think 20, we designed it to have 25 on a team. And for one game, that's a lot. We could probably have less, but as we go through the process and keep seeing more people in June, we're always adding another one. So this guy deserves to be there. Let's get him to the game because it's great for the kids, even if they get 1 or 2 at-bats.
Coach Tom Held will come out to have a conversation. Defiance High School in Ohio. Manny Hermosillo's on his staff out of Montgomery High School. He's a legend. Luis Lorenzana out of Eastlake High School, both in San Diego. We'll introduce the coaches here as Tom Lowry out of Cosby High School in Virginia and Tim Held out of Moeller High School in Cincinnati.
I'm sorry, Darren. Is there some rule against high school kids who are in season that can't play, or
different high school associations have different rules? For instance, Ryan Weathers is a resident of Tennessee, David Weathers' son, who I'm sure you played against. Or maybe not, I'm not sure. But he pitched in our scrimmage the other night because he is not eligible under Tennessee rules to, once school starts, and they start early, to play in an extracurricular game like this. And that's been the case with Tennessee players over the years.
Only Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee is the only state that we've had experience with this that limits the players. But he was able to go and pitch in a scrimmage 2 days ago and was awesome. Was 93, 94 and spotting up and 3-pitch guy. And David Weathers has a son that's a lot more left-handed than him, but it's similar stuff.
Yeah, I did play with David in Toronto, Florida, and the Mets.
That's a good-looking breaking ball. Drops right in there for a strike to Jared Kelnick, the Louisville commit, the Wisconsin native. Yeah, that's right. You guys had several stops together. He's a proud dad like you. We've seen him a lot this summer on the circuit. Well, David, it was just a scrimmage, but he took advantage of his opportunity pitching the other night as Kelnick takes a strike. 1-2 the count. Playing by the rules, but there were still people watching him pitch.
Oh, yes, there were a lot of people watching him pitch, and a lot of people have watched him pitch all summer. I don't think Ryan's allowed to run an earned run all summer, whether it's in July at Lake Point or whether it's in the major showcases and all. He's had a pretty much perfect summer as far as being happy with his performance and the way he's thrown.
And a Chappaqua, New York. This left-hander. Breaking ball, and down goes Kelnick. He pulled it back together. There was a visit, a little conversation, and the talented southpaw, the #1 player in New York, cleans things up. Al will join us for another half. Al Leiter's joining us up in the booth. His son Jack committed to Vanderbilt. You can see the impact Vanderbilt has had on the professional baseball scene. This game with the likes of Austin Becker, Ryan Weathers, and both rosters loaded with Vanderbilt commits. There are 8 committed out of this game. Will Banfield and John Malcolm out of Detroit, Xavier Edwards, and I'm just touching on it, Kumar Rocker. So many talented players, Ethan Hankins. That's the draft, though. That is the draft, and those players give way. Mike Vassal's a Virginia commit. He's out of Wellesley, Massachusetts. Boston College High School plays his travel ball for the Louisiana Knights. The #1 player in the state of Massachusetts overall, and he was another pitcher. We talked about pitchers like Jack Perkins. This was another one that went to Lake Point just outside of Atlanta and threw well enough to throw his way onto the roster. Tell us a little bit more about this gifted right-hander. He threw very effectively at Lake Point.
He's been outstanding all summer. He got off to a bit of a slow start, maybe coming out of the Northeast. So he wasn't on. He was one of these players I referred to last inning that we add because we want to get the best players in the country. But he's a big right-hander, big chest, pretty physically mature. You'll see 94, 95, but you'll see command. You'll see a tight curveball. He threw last week and threw 5 innings and threw 60 pitches against some of these same players. So he's got the command of the strike zone. He's got 3 pitches, and hitters don't see the ball. It's a very short, deceptive arm action. That ball stays behind his body a long time.
Elijah Cabell and his mate saying hi to mom. Elijah saying hi to his mom, Constance Bonaventure. He was the winner of the Nick Adenhart Award last night, Cabell. It's just mom, and she has done it herself, and Elijah has been the man in the house a lot. So congratulations to that unique family. And he took a chance to send a heart out to mom. That was very cool. That was very cool. As Nick Decker now takes his opportunity. Al Leiter's joining us in the booth. Perfect Game understands developing and growing the game of baseball. Part of it is working with Major League Baseball. And as a leader, obviously, that one is belted to right field. Well struck. Kelnick on the run. Squares it up as he takes a tumble and hauls it in. A tip of the cap. You betcha. Nick Decker says, I squared it up. Oh, my friend, you took that one away from me that time. Jared Kelnick, Wisconsinite.
I mean, he goes a long way here. Remember, folks, these are rising seniors in high school. That is a heck of a play. Went a long way. Nice job, Kelnick.
Yeah, and overran it even going all that way. One right fielder to right fielder there.
Puerto Rican Kevin Vargas is a Florida International commit. Our Fearless Player Award last night. Heart, bravery, and passion. G-Form giving out that award. And that one hits the outside corner to Kevin Vargas, the #1 player in Puerto Rico in this class. Things like pitch smart. It's important that Perfect Game jumped on board with that to work with Major League Baseball and maybe more ways to help develop the young player in the game.
Yes. Darren has a high 96-mile-an-hour fastball upstairs. Listen, I think that there's no doubt about it that this is a fantastic organization, company that has really put together the best players in the country to be able to play these events. And I think what Major League Baseball and Perfect Game is trying to do, and it's getting better, and I really like it, especially when they adopted the pitch smart of allowing in these tournaments, and I know that's been the big gripe at times, David, is that you have club teams and some coaches that maybe not as mindful of pitching a kid on a Friday and a Saturday and Sunday, and there's no day's rest, and pitch counts they weren't regarded. So I really like that. I also like what Perfect Game has done with not just putting velocities out there with statistics. It's walks to strikeout ratio and innings and hits and ERA and all of that to broaden the statistics, and the stats across the board actually is a better indicator.
Yeah, and the thing about Pitch Smart, I think that people don't realize, it's an educational tool. In addition to protecting young arms, it's an educational tool to educate coaches.
Cabrera Weaver is out of Decatur, Georgia. He's a Georgia Bulldog commit. This is a young man that ran a 6.2 760 at the National Showcase out of South Gwinnett High School. And Cabrera dropped his back shoulder that time. He can run. He'll run it out as that one is lifted and put away on the left side of the infield. Nick Northcutt puts it away. MLB Network and Major League caliber dad Al Leiter will hang with us for another half inning. The 15th annual Perfect Game All-American Classic is presented by Nike Baseball. Just that good. And by Perfect Game, the largest and most respected independent scouting service in all of baseball. Brett Dolan's down in the dugout. Al Leiter joining us in the broadcast booth. Dave Ronsley, Perfect Game's Vice President of Player Personnel. My name is Darren Sutton. Lenny Torres takes the rock and he rolls. He's a young man, too. He is not yet 17 years old. Still 16, David Ronsley. St. John's commit out of Beacon, New York, and he is one of a handful that will have a chance to make Team USA as well. This is a big arm in Lenny Torres. He's a Perfect Game All-American. And his Cadets Baseball Academy Travel Club is a good one.
Yeah, he's a young man. He has a young body. It's almost a middle infielder's body. We've been looking at these, Kumar Rockers and Jonathan Childress and Mike Vassils. This is a lean, wiry kid who would look like a middle infielder. The velocity comes very easy, mid-90s. It comes out of his hand very well. And he also has a feel for that slider as a strikeout pitch.
St. John's was his choice all along. He was thrilled when they offered him. He took it right away. He was very excited. He's a younger kid. He's a Gen Zer, but he's a baseball card collector. Those young men still exist, and the folks at Leaf love that. Certainly Leaf trading cards. Jordan Groshans with that big power out of Texas. And he is a Kansas commit. So you like the pace of this game, Al Leiter?
Oh, don't you?
I thought you might.
We got the gas lamp right behind here. We got a nice little dinner quickly.
We were talking a little bit about MLB, and I can't let the cat out of the bag too much, nor can you, or you'll get me in trouble. But maybe as that one's crushed to left field, we talked about the strength, and it's gone. He did it at the National Showcase. Jordan Groshans will touch them all of the Western Metal Supply Company building.
Wow. That was an impressive swing because that was out of the strike. That was high. It was 95 up out of the strike zone, but he's quick enough and strong enough to get the bat to that.
95 neck high. David, look at this pitch. Yes, it's middle, but wow. Dropped the head right on that. Nice level swing. Where'd you say he hit a home run?
At the National Showcase, Perfect Games National Showcase in a game as well. He was the first, hit it over that green monster in left field at JetBlue Park, the spring training home of the Red Sox.
Did I read in one of the stories leading up to this that there were only 2 home runs here for this game prior to tonight?
Well, if you look back on the history of this game,
it was Joey.
Joey Gallo hit one onto the grass out in right center field.
Oh, there was many in the 9 years here.
Right, I believe that may be the only one in the 9 years here. If there's another, I don't recall it. But in the history of this game, homers have not been prevalent, let alone a pair in the game. Because we still talk about Joey's. I mean, we still talk about that one.
He hit it up on the grass?
I think they measured it 447.
With a wooden bat?
With a wooden bat as a 17-year-old.
Wow. And they said at that point he may hit some homers in the big leagues.
In fact, it was the 7th longest home run ever for Petco Park. Big leaguers and everything else.
See that scout's mind right there? See the stuff he remembers? Hunter Watson out of Pottsboro, Texas. Texas A&M commit as he fouls it off. So MLB, PG, working together. There may or may not be some fun stuff going on this fall that could test out the young people that could own the future of the game.
Is that a tease?
Some ways to pick up the pace of this game. That'd be cool, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I think if there's ever a testing ground, if you will, would be here. I mean, we keep hearing about Commissioner Manfred and Tony Petitti and those in the commissioner's office of wanting to do certain things that may sound a little crazy. Well, why not try it at this level or whichever age group to see if it works and people like it?
Stay tuned for that. Noah Naylor's being pinch hit for, but we've got to congratulate him for his defensive work. Our Rawlings Gold Glove defensive plays of the game, and we're going to hold off because we have to tell you about the man who is swinging a bat for him. He works very well behind the plate, too, out of Louisiana. Christopher Willis fouls that one back to the screen. #1 glove of pro players. Rawlings, the mark of a pro. David, you enjoyed his work behind the plate tonight.
Oh, yes, and it showed the athleticism we've always talked about with Naylor. You know, how quickly he gets rid of the ball, how quickly he found that ball in the dirt and made a strong throw. Athleticism, catchers, it's a big deal.
I don't know what Dave Valley said about that, being an ex-catcher, but that throw out with a pitch inside with the batter blocking him, that was impressive.
Westcott leading it 3-0. They're looking to add on Christopher Willis. Left-handed hitting catcher hits it a mile high to the left side. Kendall Logan Simmons steps back into foul territory. The pride of Macon, Georgia, makes the play for the second out of the inning. Well, you're right. Why not test the future with the future? And if you're going to be a little bit edgy in the things you'd like to try, if you're the commissioner, and there's nothing wrong with having unique ideas, let the young people see if they like it.
Yeah. I mean, I know that I guess the testing ground has been the Arizona Fall League. Once it, pro ball or the minor leaguers going out to Arizona in the fall.
1-0 the count to Nicholas Northcutt, the Vandy commit, one of many. We told you one of 8. That one misses outside. Evo Shield Canes, his travel club, an oft-mentioned club with regard to success. And they've had some really good rosters. He's a #3 third baseman in the United States. Rolls that one out toward third. Lighter, thank you. Oh, wait, we're not letting you go just yet. That one is thrown away. Northcutt will reach on an errant throw from Simmons. That gives me a chance to tell you about Nick Northcutt, by the way, whose sister sang the national anthem. That he's the only, and he'll tell you, non-musical man in the family. Both his parents are professional musicians, and both are part of the Dayton Philharmonic. And he gets to stand on the field for a bit longer because of this high toss.
Strong throw. Just got underneath it.
Father's a professor of music as well. Dayton Philharmonic. Preston Hartzell. We'll stay artsy, okay? We'll stay artsy. This is a young man who also had Corona Del Mar High School. There's a very successful women's dance team, and they support all the athletes in different sports. He is in the boys' dance team. They went ahead and built one together there, and Preston's the leader of Brokessis. And instead of the female, the Brokessis.
He was dancing around when he won the home run derby.
Yeah, he was dancing around. He's not shy about it either. He'll tell you, yes, I do, and I enjoy it, and I like it. I like it a lot. He's been a very busy baseball player lately. Florida Travel Ball, he travels back and plays for them some. But he'll tell you, he can dance. He swings right through that one. Al Leiter's with us.
USC, right? He's staying local.
USC. That's exactly right.
Very impressive all the way around. We don't even really secondhand talk about it. Every guy, 93, 95, 98 miles an hour.
Two-seam fastball misses outside from Lenares Torres Jr. Lenny Torres, just 16 years old, 9 months. Working out of the stretch. And the count is 3-2. Torres involved in the community a lot. Matter of fact, his heart beats for animals. And works at animal shelters. Will go in there and do a job that's quite thankless if you think about it. He'll go in there and clean cages. And so who knows where his future leads, but we know his heart in the right place. And those that turn out to many times be our best friends, our pets. And he likes to help those in need. Run on the move, and he's got a fastball that'll help St. John should he make it there. Al Leiter, thank you very much.
Thank you. Had a good time. Thank you.
Love having you up talking baseball. Good luck to Jack, by the way.
Thank you.
Good luck to Jack.
We'll see him throw tomorrow.
Yes, thank you.
All right, look forward to it.
San Diego, California. Jordan Groshans, take a ride on that one. Talk about a frozen rope. You can hang a month's worth of laundry on that one. MLB.com and BAT is your #1 mobile app for live baseball. Stay connected with fully customizable experiences. Get game day and live video highlights, radio broadcasts, statcast, news, and more. Download MLB.com and BAT today. MLB wants you to see the best plays this summer, whether they're in your backyard or on the diamond. Please share them. Show us what you've got. Hashtag MLB The Play. This is such a great thing. I've seen this at so many levels. We'll feature some of the best all season long. Saw it at the RBI World Series, reviving baseball in the inner cities recently in Cincinnati. Love that. Hashtag it and get it out there. And a lot of talented amateur players will get an opportunity. This is a tall, gifted, right-handed pitcher. He's also a heck of a high school basketball player. His name is Blake Brazell out of Laguna Beach, California. He's a Duke commit, which means his classwork is first. Dad is Greg, was a great college basketball player at William and Mary, as that one is a high fly ball to center field. The unique and very athletic Anthony Sigler out of Cartersville, Georgia, with the fly ball out to center field. Tell us a little bit more, though, about Blake Brazell.
Well, you saw how big he is. We talked about the basketball. He averaged 23 points a game as a junior in high school, by the way. So we're talking about not Duke-level basketball, I understand, but certainly somebody who could play basketball at the D1 level if he so chooses. 6'6", 205 pounds. He's just a pup physically as far as what he does. We'll work up to 94. He spun the breaking ball there well. But just a real upside type player, especially when he's dedicated 100% to baseball.
He's dealing with Mason Denenberg now, who pitched and dealt in the mid-90s on the mound out of Merritt Island, Florida. Mason also an outstanding catcher as that breaking ball sails high to Mason. One thing we didn't tell you about Mason and his talent and his family athletic talent, his sister Carly plays college soccer as he drives that one to right field. That will settle in for a base hit. And his sister Lexi, who really had a big scare when she was younger. They nearly lost her, battled all the way back from very serious pneumonia. Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital in Florida was a big part of her battle back. Well, she's all the way back, and she's going to be playing beach volleyball at UCLA. So Mason's a talented athlete, but he kind of, much like Bryce Durang, has to take a backseat to his sister. Sorry, pal.
His family of fighters, though. You like that.
Glad to have you back, Dave Valley.
Good to be back, guys.
Did you enjoy the ballpark?
I did. This is such a beautiful place.
Little liner off the end of the bat. It's down, and it's a foul ball. This is Xavier Edwards hitting now out of Wellington, Florida. He's one of the top shortstops in the country out of North Broward Prep. Evo Shield Canes his squad. He was the MVP of the 17U World Wood Bat Association Championship at Lake Point this summer. This is a talented glove.
Oh, he's fun to watch, and he's battling a little ankle injury right now, so we haven't got to see him play defense yet. But he's acrobatic. He has perfect footwork and everything like that. He's just fun to watch play. But he's also a switch hitter who, that 5'10", 155 pounds is on a tall day for Xavier Edwards. But he's got real bat speed, and from both sides of the plate. He also might just drop a bunt here because he's done that a number of times this summer.
Sister Jasmine plays college tennis. Dad Javon played in the Dodgers organization, the Mets organization. Was an outfielder, so Dad has some professional baseball experience as he takes high and away from Blake Brazell. David told you 80 games Brazell in his Laguna Beach high school career. The Breakers, the Laguna Beach Breakers, by the way, in California. He's averaged 19.9 points per game on the hardwood. Coach K might be calling him over from the baseball field. Good sink. Very good sink. 2-2.
And you can see things about Brazell's delivery and watch him pitch to pitch that indicates he's split his time on the basketball court as well. Sometimes he'll get rushed out front and he'll leave the curveball up and throw it uphill. But when he gets those repetitions down, the arm strength and the ability to pitch is definitely there.
I know it's a thing that seems like it's going away, but I love the fact that he's a multi-sport athlete. I think you develop a lot of your athletic skills both on a basketball court and on a baseball field.
Breaking ball bounces in there, comes up a little bit shy. Roselle, there is some reality at home for him, too. Dad is Greg. His mom, Jane, is winning the battle with stage 4 breast cancer right now. And so his visit to Rady Children's Hospital, albeit younger people, really touched and moved him to the point of having to take a walk, be alone, and have some emotion grab the best of him. So you can imagine his family unit pulled closer together by something like that.
Yeah, sometimes it's easy to forget, Darren, that these are 16, 17-year-old kids. And there's a lot of stuff going on in their life. There's the emotions that you go through with different things. But no matter how much talent they show on the field, they're still 16, 17-year-old kids.
Perfect Game has always partnered with Rady Children's Hospital. Proceeds of this All-American Classic going to support fighting pediatric cancer. The founder of Perfect Game, Jerry Ford, that has always been front and center, now over $1 million. Visit perfectgame.org to donate to the foundation. Autism a big beneficiary of late as well for Perfect Game. But this visit to Rady Children's Hospital, and these young men that have had it touch home, like we talked about Denneberg with his sister Lexi. We talk about Roselle, the real life part of it. But what I loved most about these young men is that it wasn't hanging back in the corner being asked to come find the patients as they came out into the courtyard. They went to them. They went and saw them, immediately headed right over. We're here, and they got it.
I just saw the interaction of the players being able to go and engage with those young kids. And it's not always an easy thing. I think the more you do it, the more you realize that they're just kids too, and you go there and have fun, and hopefully you make them smile. But I think it's a great experience for young athletes. I think it's a great experience for big league players to continue to do those things, to use your platform to have an impact on the life of other people.
David, Darren and I have had the chance to go back and talk to former All-Americans a few years later and ask them what you remember about the game. And almost everyone, the first one, they won't talk about the game. They won't talk about Trevor Hoffman's house. They'll talk about that visit to Rady as something that stays with them.
No question about it. Well, and hopefully as some of them get to the major leagues, they'll start to be and stay aware of the impact that they can have as a Major League Baseball player. Whether it's in the lives of the kids at the Children's Hospital, wherever they might be playing, or just within their community, be able to give up their time.
Roselle fires a pretty good fastball. 3-2 the count. Nander DeSatis was walked. He is struck out. The Panamanian-born middle infielder. His mom, by the way, we were telling you about his parents, a great swimmer. And that is ball 4. An opportunity for Will Banfield. We talked about the great partnership with Diamond Kinetics, and Will Banfield has really been exemplary with regard to some of those advanced metrics that he generates himself. Now, when you look at his max barrel speed of the three, max acceleration and impact momentum, max barrel speed, you can see how far he is above the D1 college average. The max speed of the sweet spot of the barrel during the swing, 20% of the bat length from the very tip of the bat at that final 20%. So that's max barrel speed. It's not just the barrel speed, and that's what we're talking about there. A different way to track your swing. And Dave, this is what you talked about in the open. And he's using the bat there. You see the green at the bottom of that pretty Rawlings bat. So he will be tracking in-game metrics, just a new way to figure if you're 1 for 20, am I doing anything else right?
Exactly.
Do I need to change my swing?
And I think as they start to really dig into those things, you know, to go find a Major League Baseball player who maybe has one of the highest and find out, well, what is he doing in that swing?
Now and fires to the backstop, and a run crosses the plate. 3-1 the score, getting a little tighter. Continue your thought, though.
Yeah, just as you watch any great hitter, you want to know why are they doing it, how are they doing it. Here, this ball just gets a little bit loose, up off the glove of the catcher. Never a good feeling as a catcher when you have to run backwards to retrieve a baseball.
So Blake battling through this one. Now 1-2. He found a good fastball there. Right below the knees at 93 miles an hour to Banfield.
And you can almost tell whether Brazil's going to throw a quality pitch or not before he releases the ball by how he stays over the rubber. He tends to drift forward in his delivery, and that throws the sink between his lower body and his arm off. But if he stays tall above the rubber, he gets the ball down, works downhill with his fastball. Got that curveball a little late on the release there, though.
That was a great stop.
A really strong stop. Christopher Willis has moved behind home plate. The young man who's the #4 catcher in the United States is ranked by Perfect Game. Had a 1.84 pop time at the National Showcase. Banfield, a mile high, back hour away. And when you talk with Will, it just seems to be doing a lot of things right for a young man who's just a senior in high school. Jacob Oldno is one of his role models. Well, who's Jacob, you might ask? A coach, someone who's impacted his life. He's a team manager of many sports at Brookwood High School who has cerebral palsy. He says he's full of life. He reminds me when I don't feel full of life. And I should be more like him. That one goes into the catcher's mitt. And down he goes, having the opportunity to interact a lot with this young man. It's an A+ scouting grade, too, the young man as a person.
We're seeing a nice inning here from Christopher Willis as well. He made that stop you reference. He showed the soft hands on that foul tip, really helping out his pitcher.
John Malcolm. Mom is Letitia, dad is Johnny. Detroit Country Day produced Chris Webber, and it's also producing John Malcolm. He's for Team Elite 17U Pride. I want to thank him for his help. As he breaks his bat, it goes to the right side on the ground. The bat to the right, the ball to the left, and Malcolm is erased. Good to see Brazil pull things together. His West squad, it's getting late. They're trying to defend their turf out in San Diego, California, the 15th edition of the Perfect Game All-American Classic. Oh, that bat did not die a happy death. Malcolm letting it travel deep, though. 3-1. The Perfect Game All-American Classic with the West squad on top by a score of 3-1. You're just starting to hang out with us. Allow us to tell you how we arrived here with our game summary brought to you by Diamond Kinetics. Kumar Rocker out of the gates, outstanding. Matthew Liberator out of Arizona, same thing, lively fastball, good cut. Velocity was key. Arizona showing itself again. Gorman, gone man. Nolan leaning on it. And the West squad with more power off the Western Metal Supply Company. Jordan Groshans, who homered at Perfect Games National Showcase. Love that, the Jayhawks seeing that. And that is where we stand. Red Dolan's down in the dugout. David Ronsley is to my right. David Valley is to his right. Jonathan Gates, number 30, on the back of that spectacular Nike jersey is the left-hander who ran a little bit late on the scene. We're glad to have him here. Jonathan Gates, some family time. Had him a couple of days in out of Brookville, Florida. North Coast Tech. He is a heck of a student. 3 years honor roll in the classroom. And this is a young man that is the number 3 left-handed pitcher in the country.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to see the velocity readings that we've been accustomed to over the last 2 hours from Jonathan Gates. He'll still pitch in the low 90s, but he has outstanding command, and he works different pitches to different quadrants. He throws a true slider, which, Dave, as you know, is not a common pitch at this level, but he has one of the best sliders in the country and also a very nice changeup.
Lefty on lefty, one of the best athletes in the state of Iowa is Levi Usher, and I mean football, where he is an outstanding defensive back. And his team last year went 9-2 at Prairie High School, and he has had so many moments. He's a great baseball player. Non-commit. The only non-commit that we're talking about in this game, Levi Usher. Mom is Tina, dad is Matt. Dad played baseball at Iowa. And this is a wild card with regard to his ability to do high-level things.
Yeah, it's a young man who back in May came to a showcase in Cedar Rapids, where Perfect Games headquarters are, and ran a 6.2 60 through 96 from the out. Yeah,
that's world class.
Yeah, that's world class. And you watch like his football tapes and everything, and they're just otherworldly. His athleticism. We didn't get to see him swing the bat there, but now we get to maybe see that speed on the bases. But he's the least known in the scouting community of any of the 53 All-Americans, which might contribute to his not having a commitment. The country's just beginning to learn about Levi Usher.
So for a young man like this, clearly just kind of burst on the scene. More people are watching him play. He's not committed. How long will you think it'll take before he commits to a particular school?
I think that's up to him. I know I'm sure he has had offers. You mentioned Darren, his dad went to Iowa. That's about 35 miles south of where he lives. But we have a few players every year who want to be patient with the process. There's so many kids now who are committing as freshmen and sophomores. It's refreshing to see somebody who's holding off on it and not making the quickest decision, but maybe the right one for him.
Austin Wells is a catcher. He allows himself now a chance to hold the bat in his hands and go to work. Here's at bat for the young man out of Henderson, Nevada, Bishop Gorman, great academic and athletic school. Has played for the AZ T-Rex, great team in Arizona, and Florida Travel Ball as well. Smart young man to engineering, architectural engineering is his passion. He will, once he arrives at college for Jay Johnson's University of Arizona squad, that's what he will pursue. Austin Wells. Mom is Michelle, dad is Greg. He can catch. I mean, this is a young man that can catch. Try and make a run at that Team USA roster as well here in Minneapolis soon. Calls his own game, by the way, too, which isn't always the case in high school baseball. His game is his game.
Well, I like the fact that he's getting an opportunity to really hone his skills and his mental skills as far as how do you call a game. Because if you're never allowed to call the game, then you just kind of become a robot back there. You need to get a kind of that feel.
And I know from talking to minor league coaches, I'm sure you've been through it. One of the biggest challenges when players come from the ranks here, catchers, is they haven't ever had to call a game, and they're in rookie ball trying to do everything. I'm a pro for the first time, and they're being asked to do something they've never had to do.
That's a great point.
And catchers the same way, because you put courtesy runners in. You'll see catchers who don't have base running instincts because at the high school level they're always taken out of the game on the bases. You catchers have it tough.
It's a tough gig. I've talked to some minor league managers who, when they've gotten a college player who came out of any particular program where they didn't call it, and first time they're playing in a game, first inning comes and catcher's just staring over in the dugout, and the manager's like, hey, what are you staring over here for? He's like, well, aren't you going to tell me what to throw? It's like, no. Learn, figure it out, get a feel. Know your pitchers, know what they've got, know what's working tonight.
Speaking of catchers, Anthony Sigler doing a nice job behind the plate, keeping that one with him. Know what you throw, know what to throw. By the way, a man who swung it like he knew what was coming is Jordan Groshans. He's standing by with Brett. Guys, take it.
Yes, he is, the Magnolia, Texas native. We talked about how home runs are rather infrequent in this All-Star game, but take me through your at-bat.
It was just 1-1 count. I knew a fastball was coming, and he threw it in and did something good with it. So
just a matter of keeping it fair?
Yeah, I couldn't be more happy with it. So.
Take me through this week, what it's been like for you in this whole experience being an All-American.
It's been amazing. It's truly a blessing to be here. Rady Children's was unbelievable. Seeing all those little kids that they can't do what we can do, but it was unbelievable. And then Trevor Hoffman, great person, human being, fun to go in his house and on the beach like that. It was unbelievable. And this playing here at this time and with all these guys is just, it's unbelievable.
Great job today. And again, there's another individual talking about Rady's Children's Hospital. David.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good stuff, Brett Dolan. We appreciate it. Brandon Dieter has a bat in his hands. He can pitch very effectively. We have seen him do it for South Hills High School. Plays his travel ball for CBA Marucci. Great in the classroom. He's a Stanford commit. This is just a baseball player, an all-around baseball player out of Covina. He goes down there with a lively fastball down and away. So Dieter is a strikeout victim. Our perfect game player spotlight. It shines on Jordan Groshans, the largest and most respected independent scouting service in all of baseball. A lighter, that was neck high, and he went and did that.
He just tomahawked that pitch right there. Fastball up and in. Able to get the barrel to the ball, and even more importantly, keep it fair.
That's what Al said. He couldn't believe it. And I know you were checking it as it happened. We didn't have the hitter in here. We had the pitcher, and he didn't like that. As Bryce Durang has a chance to swing the bat. And Al said they're not supposed to do that with neck-high fastballs. 3-1 the score. As Durang takes outside from Gates. We told you about Durang's family and the unique contributions. His sister Carissa, Cal State Fullerton softball. Cabria, soccer at Utah, both graduates. Bailey, volleyball at Southern Nazarene. Brianna, softball at Oklahoma, graduates. All 4 sisters, college athletes. That one bounces in there. Nice job by Sigler keeping it in front.
I like the fact that he got that ball to the middle part of his body. He's able to get out there and cause that baseball after you block it to stay close to you. Sometimes you'll see young guys keep their shoulders up high, and that ball will still hit off the chest protector but kick away. But look how that ball, he kind of just smothers it. I always tell young catchers, make like it's a grenade, and you're trying to smother that ball. Well done.
And this is a unique athlete, Sigler, who's the Auburn commit, who can pitch with both hands, can hit from both sides of the plate, and yet he is giving it. You told us this, David, earlier. He'll put on a clinic as a catcher, too.
And what I like about the shifting on that block is how quick his feet work, because you see a lot of times catchers this age, they're still lunging out, so that they have no choice almost but to block the ball down the third baseline and give up the base. But he was quick enough to get around it.
Got to be a great athlete to be a catcher. Let's put it that way.
A great one-spot athlete.
That went up and away to Bryce Durang. Santiago High School, by the way, in the Inland Empire. The Playa Vista Orioles, his travel team. And there is the versatile Sigler, Cartersville High School. One sails in, and Durang just won't chase. That's what you've seen all summer long, and no interest in that one from the left-hander Jonathan Gates. Gates born in Key West. And that's why, even though he's in Brookville now, Miami was the right fit. He's always loved as far south as he can go. At FTB club, he plays with Sadis and Wells and Hartzell. And here is Nolan gone, Gorman. Breaking ball, pretty one. 0-1 the count to Nolan. Sandra Day O'Connor High School. It's a lot of work with the St. Mary's Food Bank in downtown Phoenix. Breaking ball, wow, kept his hands back long enough. Base hit right field. The West with one. The West with another. They out on to their lead. It's a 5-1 West lead. It is an incredible night for Nolan Gorman.
No doubt about it. Bases loaded, single, 4 RBIs on the day. We still got an inning or 2 left, but he might have an early lead in the most valuable player race right now.
Not an easy pitch right here. Good curveball down on the outer half of the plate. As you mentioned, his hand stays back. Even though his weight was going forward, still able to get the barrel to the ball.
Jared Kelnick takes low and outside. Kelnick here last year, just after this All-American Classic ended. And he was a year younger, took part in the underclass All-American Showcase, which starts tomorrow. Jared was here. Puts that one on the ground. What a beautiful piece of hitting. What a great play, but unable to get it out of his glove. Frustrating there, but the range and the athleticism of Kevin Vargas, second base, shortstop, either place.
He wanted to make that play so bad. You know, it was a highlight reel play. He showed great range getting to it. Just that last step right there. And I know he's the most frustrated young man in this ballpark right now.
Well, for young players like that, to be able to make this play, the more times you do it, the more comfortable you're going to be at it. But the fact that he lays out there up the middle, tremendous athleticism by Mr. Vargas.
Learning to catch up with your skills. That's interesting, the way you put that. That's exactly what you're talking about. Groshans takes low from Gates. We just heard from Jordan a few moments ago. Banditos, his travel squad, the Banditos black team, Houston, Texas, their original base. A little bit of sink to that fastball. 2-0 the count as it misses outside to Jordan. Jordan, by the way, in Perfect Game's 17U World Wood Bat Association Championship just outside of Atlanta at Lake Point, was 7 for 12 in his at-bats with a home run. This time, it's a fly ball to right. And it's put away out there in right field. In the end, a fairly easy chance. The play made by Elijah Cabell.
Good communication out there by Cabell, calling off the second baseman.
And now Hunter Watson. A lot of players in this game, but the babies are their family. We've talked about the older sisters and brothers, talented athletes. Not Hunter. They're watching him closely. Grayson, his younger brother's 13. Tripp is 5. They keep making those good decisions, Hunter. He's a Texas A&M commit. Well, that's a nice breaking ball. Did he get a commit there? Up check. He did not go around. John Walrath out there, the third base umpire. Chuck Glauks behind the plate. John Allen is the first base umpire. Matt Stanfield is the Stayfield, I should say, the second base umpire. John Walrath is at third. Ump Nation, Perfect Game governed umpiring group, do a fine job. Slow roller. Right side. This play will be made. This time, Kevin Vargas is able to turn it into the out. More timely hitting for the West squad as they add to their lead. It's now a 5-run lead. Talk about Gorman all night long. The homer earlier. That time the hands stay back on the breaking ball. What a night. Our G-Form play of the game. Tired of uncomfortable, restrictive baseball guards. G-Form has fixed that. G-Form baseball guards stay in the game. That is J-Form. Jared Kelnick. Certainly a little bit of frustration there. Tip of the cap, as Nick Decker knew, the New Jersey native. He had squared that one up, but it was Kelnick, who has been on this baseball scene, who has so much success, the pride of Wisconsin, huge Brewers fan, who made that play. He's back out there in right field, hoping to make another one. What's going on out there? Looked like a little bit of a prank for Hoffman. He's throwing in the towel here. It's kind of smiles out there. Smiles, everybody. Trevor Hoffman's pulling his hijinks again. A suit in the dugout. Tim Held out there coaching the third base box. Some great coaches down there as Ian Bedell goes to work against Kendall Logan Simmons. Bedell out of Davenport, Iowa. Mom is Honey. Dad is Daniel. Dad went to the Naval Academy as that one is fouled off. And Ian Bedell is a Mizzou commit. #1 player in Iowa. Top 10 right-handed pitcher in the United States at the 17U World Wood Bat. Touched 95 miles an hour, David Ronsley. He touched it right now.
Yes, and pretty much the best pitcher from the state of Iowa since Jeremy Hellickson. Kind of a different pitcher physically. Hellickson has slighter frame, but the actual pitches are very similar to Hellickson at the same age.
High fly ball, well struck to left field, shy of the track. Preston Hartzell under it. And Kendall Logan Simmons, who doubled earlier in this game. Macon, Georgia. The Georgia Tech commit is the first out.
Yeah, Simmons, you mentioned Simmons earlier in the game as being the 5th ranked player in the state of Georgia, which is kind of deceptive.
Right.
This is a career year for the state of Georgia, but it just happens to be when he's a senior. He's one of the top 15 players in the country, but he's only 5th in the state of Georgia.
LSU is Elijah Cabell's commit. He said, I love you earlier to his mom, Constance Bonaventure. He probably wants to throw in sisters Fontaine and Deja, or they'll give him the business when he gets home. Good fastball. Boy, it's lively. In on the hands. Charging. Fielding. Firing. It's dug out at first base. Fine play all around. Jordan Groshans, he showed his power. A very nice running play. Hunter Watson with the scoop at first.
Yeah, I like the fact that he comes in charging hard, gets it on the short hop, able to get off a throw over there. Sometimes you need some help from your first baseman, and a nice pick by Watson.
And so far, so good for Bedell. 3.9 GPA for the man on the bump. Very, very good in the classroom. An athlete, too. A couple of years ran track and field.
And, of course, in Iowa, it's much easier to be a multi-sport athlete because they still play. Their baseball season is still played during the summer.
Summertime baseball. Wisconsin just did away with that. Summertime baseball.
Summertime baseball.
What a concept.
Now, the reasons for that are largely gone, but it's almost a tradition now in Iowa. They've talked about changing it back and all, but it gets no headway, no support. You know, they're going to be playing summer baseball there for a long time.
By the way, there's a new temporary resident of Iowa, Cedar Rapids, founding city of Perfect Game. Perfect Game was born. Royce Lewis is now there in Able, playing in Cedar Rapids, Minnesota Twins organization, and he had 4 hits in his very first game. He was in this game last year. Royce Lewis, welcome to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm sure they're enjoying you there. By the way, at Perfect Game Park.
Yes.
Park or Field?
Perfect Game Field at Memorial Park.
Thank you, sir. I knew you'd get that right. Throw is high, speed is good. So if that throw is even just a little bit off, there is absolutely nothing you can do with the wheels of Nick Decker. Go just a little bit high from the dependable Dieter.
He gets over there and gets in front of it good enough, but tremendous hustle down the line. You love to see that. Sets his feet, but just drops down a little bit too low on the arm angle. Pulls his first baseman off the bag.
And the reality is Brandon Dieter is, probably plays 99% of his games at shortstop when he's not on the mound and such. We've got Connor Scott up pinch hitting. But
waves through that one.
All these middle infielders are, of course, shortstops by nature. And so when they have to play, whether it's on a summer club or in a game like this, it's a little unfamiliar to them.
Out of Plant High School in Tampa, Florida, Connor Scott, a Florida Gator with regard to his commitment. That one sails high up and out of the zone. Connor, another outstanding student, up and over a 4.0 GPA. Was on his varsity team as a freshman, homered on his varsity team as a freshman. Had a good teacher that year. Very good. Outside of his coaching staff as he rolls that one foul. His teammate, Plant High School, his freshman year was a senior. Do you folks remember Kyle Tucker? Very talented Kyle Tucker, first round draft pick of the Houston Astros. Tucker, by the way, has 18 home runs this year in the minor leagues. He'll tell you, Connor, I learned a lot from him. A lot from Kyle Tucker.
And I think Connor's going to get tired, actually, eventually, of Kyle Tucker's name because it's such a close comp. They're the same size. They went to the same high school. They have the same swing mechanics. Maybe the one difference being is that Connor Scott's 92 off the mound from the left side. But they're just such similar athletes to have two athletes of that caliber and who are the same, coming from the same high school in a 4-year period. And if you don't know Kyle Tucker right now and you're a big league fan, you'll know it soon enough. He's one of the top prospects in all of minor league baseball. But watch his hand action is particularly interesting at the plate. He generates the bat speed and the power like Kyle Tucker does from the way he uses his hands through the zone.
And he's going without batting gloves.
I love that.
Which you don't see very often.
Good to see him out there, by the way. And if the swing's maybe a little uncomfortable, he's not too far removed from an appendectomy. So Connor Scott fighting his way back from that. He wanted to get an at-bat in this game, and that's great. Great to see Connor out there. What a bright future he has. Oh, my goodness, Coronado. We're on a pretty good pace to get on over there before the sun goes down.